Welcome back to the Backcountry PA podcast. This is episode 135, and on this one, we had the pleasure of having in-guest studio for the first one since going on maternity leave, since my baby was born. But we had Jimmy and Ryan in studio from Drawback Outdoors. Great guys, local to us here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. They are pretty much the same as us. They enjoy the camaraderie. They like to shoot the shit. They like to drink beer around the fire. We did not have a fire in the studio because the whole studio would weapon flames. But we talked bucks. We talked about the buck that was actually stolen from Ryan. A really tragic event, and they got it on film. I saw the picture, the video of the buck. Beautiful, beautiful freaking buck. And we talked some hog hunting. We BS, and it was just a fun chat with these guys. Looking forward to coming back on the podcast. Keep an eye out because there are some things in the work with these guys. But yeah, go check out their YouTube channel. Go subscribe, like, and maybe subscribe to our YouTube channel too. Go watch the podcast on our YouTube channel. But other than that, remember to keep hunting, keep fishing, keep your tradition, and always enjoy the fishing process.
We got to be better as hunters. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to help each other out more. We got to respect each other more. Like, hunters sometimes get a bad rap. Guys that are sitting in a tree stand drinking a beer with 30-06 in their hand, like 99% of hunters aren't that. To have that taken by somebody, it was the shittiest feeling.
Hey. We're back. Ethan, it's been about 2 months, but we're back in the studio. Are you slowly opening that beer right now?
Yes.
Wow, that was nice. That was nice.
That was.
So obviously, if you've been listening, I'm Cody.
I'm Ethan.
And we have two guests in studio for the first time in 2 months. Guys, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jimmy.
My name is Ryan O'Donnell.
And you guys are with the Drawback Outdoors, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So I followed you guys. I heard a podcast. We're not going to talk about it, but I heard a podcast, and I was like, "Oh, these guys are in Lebanon, PA. We're in Manheim. I'm going to follow them. Creep on you a little bit, see if I can get some hunting spots from your actual."
You're looking at the wrong spot if you think you're getting them from us, because we're trying to figure that out too.
But yeah, I mean, it's been about. I started following you over the summer, and just kept up with you guys, and then Jimmy and I started talking. I was like, yeah, let's try and do a podcast.
Absolutely.
And then we made it work, and here we are.
Yeah,
hey, look at us now.
Human interaction all over again.
right. Yeah, it's only a 20-minute drive for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not far. Plus, we both drive Dodges.
Okay.
No,
not
me.
He doesn't.
Not me. But that's okay.
It's okay. You drove here in a Dodge.
Yeah, right.
I'll drive anything I get a good deal on. That's kind of where I'm at. It's cool too because in 2 or 3 years we'll be sitting here and we'll each have 100,000 subscribers, and we'll be like, remember we did that first one together? You know what I mean? We'll be dragging 180-inch deer out together. So yeah, I feel like it's like after reading that on the wall, it's like we both have the same mindset as you guys do. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a long process. For both of us, I'm sure. It's just it takes a long time. It takes a while. There's so many hunting shows on YouTube. There's so many hunting podcasts now. Like every Joe Schmo out there with a mom.
Yep.
Because usually everyone has a mom. somewhere.
At least a mom. Yeah.
Well, the barrier to entry is getting lower and lower as the technology gets better. So it's like, you can buy a GoPro 9, right, and shoot in 4K and have stabilization mode, all that stuff on a camera, and everybody's filming their own hunts now. So what do you do to stand out a little bit from the next guy? And sometimes it's discouraging. We talk about it all the time. Like, holy shit, dude, there's thousands and thousands of YouTube channels out here, and they all have 200 subscribers, 300 subscribers. It's like everybody's posting these videos. What do you do to stand out? And then I think we figured out just grinding, just keep posting content. I mean, multiple platforms and just hustling and posting nonstop, and just it'll go up. You just got to trust the process and keep grinding.
And at the end of the day, you just do it because you love it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Whatever happens. Yeah,
I mean, you got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy the fucking process, what are you doing it for? You're not, unless you have clickbait,
right.
Which we've debated. We've gotten to some points where dude, we need some views on these videos. Should we clickbait this? And
should we make the picture like a naked woman?
We've thought about a lot of that. That's clickbait's crossed our mind. We've seen some other channels clickbait, and I'm like, it just gives me the bad feeling. Like I just feel like I was duped when I clicked that video. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, they got my view, but I'm kind of pissed about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I'm not so I'm gonna be a little more hesitant to click on their next video. So
false advertisement.
We will not clickbait. We promise that. But it's been thought about. Trust me. There's been some times where like we need some views, dude. Like, how do we get this?
Follow us on TikTok.
Like
Yeah, TikTok's blowing up.
We gotta do one of those calendars, like the fireman calendars. We gotta do one of those. A steamy calendar.
Should we do a backcountry and drawback steamy calendar?
There you go. You don't want to see this body.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Make
Jimmy's
it
got
happen.
his camera. He's becoming a hell of a photographer. So
Yeah.
we can get those pictures. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Pristine.
I'll make them look good.
Yeah, he'll make us look better than we do. That's
Six
for
packs
sure.
and all. Yeah.
He'll edit it in. Photoshop some.
So we do a beer tasting. Everyone has their beer. It's Ethan. You want to introduce it?
Yeah, we got Gearhouse Brewing Company. It is the Junkyard Cow Milk Stout. I think this is the second milk stout we've ever done.
Lancaster Brewing is the other one.
Lancaster Brewing, and
That's a 9.
we love that one.
Yeah.
That was in our Lancaster Brewing Company phase.
Yeah.
That's all we drank for the longest time.
Because they gave us like 4 6-packs.
Yeah, you can't complain about that at all. Where we at? They're from Chambersburg, PA.
Oh, nice.
So there's a local one. Obviously, don't drink if you're pregnant. And
It's good to know.
Jimmy.
yes,
You might be expecting over there.
yes, contains lactose, 5.8% alcohol by volume. They don't have a description. No, there's no description on this one.
Well, it's a milk stout.
But it's a milk stout. You can't really
all we need.
describe it.
Yep.
It's like
The cans kick ass. So.
Yeah.
Andrew would be disappointed though in both of us.
I-
There's
you
no
know what?
college crack in that at all.
I'm a dad now. There's no way I'm in college.
You can't do a college crack.
Nice sit there, man. That was good.
Was that you?
That might have been me.
That might have
Some
been it.
ASMR.
Dude, how many times that idea has been thrown around too?
We just never do
We
it.
just never do it. If you clipped everything together from all the episodes, we would probably have a whole separate podcast of just ASMR.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of people into that. You guys could really bump the
If one of our partners would pay me $1,000 every 2 weeks, I would do it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
you have to. I mean, whatever it takes. Like we were just talking about, whatever it takes for those views and those listens, man. I'll do anything.
Actually, Ethan, you should have wrote that down of when that was because I could have clipped that out and put it in the intro. It's
See,
all right.
I can't even see
It's
because
okay.
he took my spot
Yeah.
and I can't see.
I threw him off.
He threw
Yeah.
me off. Like I'm just.
That's Cody's fault, man.
That's the thing. Ethan is a creature of habit.
I am
You know?
very much so.
We are too, though.
Yeah, I was
so-
just gonna say. So are we. I'm on
That's-
a strict schedule. Last night we went to see my fiance and I went to see that movie, and it ended at like 9:40. She was like, "I'm over under with my dad if you're gonna fall asleep or not." I'm like, hey, it's a very good possibility I fall asleep. I thought about it a few times, but decent movie.
Well,
but,
if it's like Palmyra or Flagship,
yeah,
has
that's
those,
where
like,
we were.
reclining seats.
Yeah, you lean back in
Dude,
that thing and you're
game.
like, the lights go down. You're like, oh man, I don't know.
They're
But-
really setting the mood for my nap right now.
Yeah, this guy's in
really.
bed by 8 o'clock. every
yeah,
night.
no, I go to bed early.
Hey,
9:30.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
I'm right there
Well, that's
right
because
now.
you got a baby.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't.
Well,
Wow.
okay. Well, there's
I'm practicing. A few years practice.
Paige would like to hear that.
yeah. So right off the bat, it's pretty good. But we'll give the description of what we think about it at the end, or when someone finishes it. Like Ethan, if you finish yours first, you'll give the first description.
Probably will.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think Ethan is gonna.
Yeah,
he's
Ethan's
gonna
been
take
sipping.
Still go. I keep going here. Like
It might take me 4 days to finish.
I was gonna say we'll get Jimmy's rating tomorrow afternoon when he finishes.
He'll give me a call. Hey, can you record this quick?
I finally finished it.
So you guys want to pretty much give a background of like how you got into hunting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Okay. I'll go first. So when I turned 12 I used to go, my aunt has like a couple hundred acres up in Howard, Pennsylvania. And I'd go up one day a year. I got 1 day a year to hunt for rifle season. I'd go out with my grandpa and my dad, and we'd go into the tree stand. We'd have like a buddy heater blasting, the radio playing, and I thought that was hunting back then. you
Right.
know?
Right, that's grandpa
And then,
style hunting.
you know, that's so like I said, I got 1 day a year to hunt, and then I had to be back for basketball in high school. So that was like hunting for me growing up. And then when I went to college in Iowa, that was when I realized like how serious people take hunting. And I got into bow hunting in Iowa, and that's kind of how I started. So I didn't really grow up in a family where hunting was huge. So
Pretty much the PA way.
Right.
Like,
Right.
because my grandfather, he kind of, like, he didn't have the radio playing, but he did this, like, kind of little radios all
I'm telling you, and I used to
That's a
sit
first.
there as a kid, like, man, I never kill anything. It's like, I look back now, like, no wonder. Like, we had the radio, like, my dad could hear it all the way down the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
my grandfather had a box blind, like a built box
Yeah,
blind
that's
in
how
a
ours
tree.
was. Yep.
And, wow, my dog is barking. So, before we were rudely interrupted by my dog,
Yes.
we're talking about how you got into hunting. So, Ryan, you want to go
Yeah.
next?
So no one in my family grew up really shooting guns, shooting bow, any of that. I grew up without doing any of that. I worked on a farm part-time in high school, and we'd shoot groundhogs. That was fun. So I got a 22, and that was sort of like the only hunting I had done. And then I was on Instagram, and I found Cam Haynes. And Cam Haynes is running 30 miles up a mountain, shooting his bow. I'm like, God, man, this guy, like, that's a pretty cool guy. Started following him. And then I was working on the farm one day, and so I had went to college, came home, and still helped out on that farm every now and then. And we saw deer tracks in the farm. And I'm like, oh, there's deer here. Like, I'm going to start hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So a week before rifle season, I went out, bought a rifle. We sighted it in, and didn't see a deer all rifle season. Opening day, me and my buddy, we had never hunted. We saw 2 doe running across the field. We get out of our tree stands, we're chasing these things, and that was it. That's all I saw all rifle season. And then I started looking on the Game Commission website. I'm like, there's a thing called late season archery. So I bought a bow and thought I was going to go kill a deer in late season archery. Didn't get it done. And then I started playing softball for a team. That's a whole nother story, how Jimmy and I met. But I started playing softball. And I'll tell the story. It's good podcast material.
Yeah.
So I'm playing left field,
what we're here for.
and Jimmy's playing shortstop. And there was a girl that hope she doesn't listen to this.
She ain't listening.
There was a girl, and I was
Which one? The girl or your fiance?
No, my fiance. Way before it. This is a darker time. Before I met Paige. Yeah. So there was a girl that I thought was going to come watch the game. And I was telling Jimmy, like, man, Jimmy had just met. I knew him in high school. He played football for the rival school, but we're becoming friends. We're talking. We're like walking out. I'm going out to left field. He's going out to shortstop. And I'm like, yeah, this girl, like talking about her a little bit. She might come watch us play. And he's like, who is she? And I told him, and he's like, just looked at me. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, oh, I'm kind of, talking to her. I'm like, what? So he was enemy right away. But we got through that. And we both were better off without her. But we got through that. And then Jimmy kind of took me under his wing and started showing me, archery. He's like, you shoot bow? I'm like, yeah. So he started showing me actually how to shoot a bow. Because I had YouTubed how to shoot a bow. So I started getting into it. And the rest is history. That year, I shot a doe on Jimmy's farm, first deer.
That was an awesome experience.
Yeah, that was
for me.
pretty.
And I didn't even shoot the deer. Like, just seeing him light up and kill his first deer. That was awesome.
That was my first deer ever. Killed it.
Big doe too.
Yeah, out of the same tree stand, I killed my biggest buck. Killed a lot of deer out of that tree stand, and he was on the property. I was out there. I shot it. I texted him like, I think I hit her. I don't know. Like, I can't find blood. I'm freaking out. Jimmy comes over. He was on the other side of the property. Comes over. We find blood. Track it. She'd gone like 50 yards on the other side of the creek and was dead. So that was a special day. And then that year, he took me upstate to his aunt's property, and I shot a buck during rifle. So that's it. Buck every single year ever since then. So
damn.
Jimmy got me into it, and then it's become an obsession.
Yeah.
We're full-fledged now.
So, Ryan, let me ask you this. So, buck every single year. Do you put more pressure on yourself to keep the thing going?
I think this is the first year that I really felt that pressure. Obviously, we're filming for YouTube, so like that's in the back of your head at all times too. We'll probably get into it later, but I shot a really nice buck on public land this year, sort of like prime time right before the rut, and that deer actually ended up getting taken by somebody else. So after that, I just felt the pressure, like I can't get blanked this year. I can't get blanked. And I did pass a couple small deer that I looking back, probably should have took. So it came down to the last day of PA archery season this year, and I did take a smaller deer than I normally do, but was tickled pink with it. Like I'm doing a Euro mount on it. I'm hanging that buck in my office like it's a 200-inch deer. Yeah. Like I grinded it out this year for that buck, and so it's a special buck, and it means a lot to me, and I'm happy with it. But this year I did feel that pressure. I never have before, but this year was the first year where I was like, am I getting blanked? Is this the first year? And my brother-in-law, he got me for my birthday. He got me Euromount hanger. It's like a cutout of the state of Pennsylvania.
Oh,
And,
I like
and it's like a
pretty
metal
cool, yeah.
thing, and it's got a little hook, skull hook on it. You can hang your Euromount, and it says 2022. He had engraved in the bottom of it.
oh, he
I'm
really.
like, well, so if I don't kill a deer this year, like, what do I do with this? You know, what
just
I mean?
hang it there.
Put your
This year,
tags there.
for the first year ever, I did feel some pressure. I was trying to figure out, like, put a piece of cardboard over the 2022 or something, like
Coat
change
hanger?
it. Yeah, right, hang your coat on it. But yeah, so I did feel a little pressure this year. But I do think that'll happen. Like, there will be a time I get blanked, and as like we grow as hunters, and I want a more mature deer every year, and like not necessarily the biggest deer, but I want an older buck, and especially if we're hunting on a piece of private land, like I want to pass these little deer and let them get bigger. So there might be a year that I get blanked, but it wasn't this year, so
Yeah.
we'll
Hey,
take it.
hey, you're still
I'm
up
still
there.
keeping
That's
it.
what
Still-
I told him, like, in the beginning of his archery career. I was like, it was like the third year. I was like, man, you shot a buck 3 years in a row. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is.
He
That's
didn't really
amazing.
understand. Like,
Yeah. Well, my first archery buck, I got really lucky. So the year after I killed that buck upstate in rifle, I was hunting on Jimmy's farm, and it was like Jimmy worked in Williamsport at the time, so I was out there by myself, and this is a little property. It's like 13
it's
acres.
13 acres. Yeah.
Okay.
13 acres, and the street cuts it. So like huntable, we're on like 8 acres maybe, and
Yeah. Wow.
we're sitting in this old ladder stand that his grandpa had put up there. Him and his grandpa had put up there. How old's that ladder stand?
Oh man, I probably put that up in college. So
Yeah, so it's like 10.
2010.
Yeah, so it's like
something
a
that.
10-year-old ladder stand, and I'm sitting in there, and I mean, I'm still new to archery, right? Like I haven't killed an archery buck, just a doe, and my buddy was calling me, and I went to pick it up, and I was like, it was last light for sure, and I'm like, nah, I still have 5 minutes of shooting light. Here comes this. He's 124 inches, but it was the biggest buck we've seen on that property for a long time.
For a long time.
He comes walking through 10 yards right in front of my stand, and
I don't even know if it was 10 yards.
Yeah,
to be
it was
honest.
close.
It was close.
and I shot him, and he ran like 15 yards and fell over. I can't remember if I hard shot him or not, but I mean, he went 15 yards, turned back, looked at me, and fell down. But I didn't know how big he was. Like he had these huge 2 points on the end that I could see, but it was last light, and it all happened fast. And it was my first archery buck, and I knew it had to be 3 on one side in PA. So I'm calling Jimmy like, I don't know, dude. Like, was he 3 on one side? Like, it all happened so fast. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll go get him. I'm like, I'm thinking this thing could be like a 4 point. You know what I mean? A little 5 point. We get to this buck. We find him. Jimmy comes in with me. He's like, holy shit, bro. We walk out, his flashlights on. We walk out.
Triple brow time?
Triple brow time. It's just big buck sitting there. I'm like, but even then, like, I didn't appreciate it so much. Like, man, I wish I shot that buck this year because I'm like, oh yeah, this hunting thing's not so hard. I'm like, 7 years later, I'm like, geez, man, but that's still to this day the biggest buck I've killed. So,
And that was your first buck.
that was my first archery buck.
No,
yeah,
okay.
I
First
killed.
archery buck.
I killed
Okay.
a rifle buck the year before, and the year before we were upstate, and I get migraines, and I woke up, and I didn't want to hunt. I had the worst headache ever, and I'm like, I'm not going out. The opening day, Jimmy's like, you're going out there. And the day before, we'd seen that buck that I ended up killing in this clover field.
Yeah, it's an old clover field. It's not really clover anymore, but we used to plant clover in it. And yeah, we were scouting.
Yeah, we went up a day early and we scouted it, and we saw this buck in there. And Jimmy was like, his whole goal was to get me a buck that year. And he's like, you're sitting here, you're sitting in this box blind. And I'm like, you can see. He's like, no, you're sitting here. And the next morning I woke up, I'm like, dude, I have a headache.
He
I'm not
really
going.
wasn't about to go out.
I
either.
swear the headache was so bad. I'm like, I don't know if I can go out there. He's like, you're going. So I wear contacts. I put my glasses on, trot out there, get out there. And his aunt drops us off, so it wasn't that big of a deal. She drops me off. I don't know, like 45 minutes into it. This buck's I mean, he was like 30, 40 yards. The rifle walks right out in front of me. I shot him. He went like 20 yards. Jimmy's dad was with us, and I hear him yelling on the bottom after I shot, you get it? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, you got it. I see it. You got it. And so that one was definitely because of Jimmy. But, yeah, I mean, the pressure's not that high, I think. It's just when we talk about this streak, it's like a no-hitter. You know, when a pitcher's throwing a no-hitter, it's like, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. And after
Better
the game,
knock
you can
on wood right
celebrate.
now, yeah.
But not yet. I'm knocking on wood because I know the year will come, and I've accepted that, and I'm ready for it. Like I said, especially we're chasing bigger and bigger deer now, and we're starting to get a little picky.
Yeah, I mean that was my. People say they can judge a buck and yardage. I can't judge a buck in yardage.
I'm the
At
worst
all.
at judging.
Yeah, I can't.
We were.
No.
Jimmy knows I'm the worst. We're at Blue Marshall Lake. I'm like, yeah, how far do you think that field is over there, the other side of the? And Jimmy's like, it's like 300 yards. I'm like, I think it's like 120. The rangefinder, it's like 310. I'm like, holy, I'm really bad. No, I'm the worst at judging. I'll pre-range. Like, I don't know about you, but I'll pre-range every single tree I can possibly see when sitting in that stand
100%.
and try to memorize where each one is because I just don't know. Like and I'm shooting a single pin, so it's not, you don't have all those pins there, so I have to make the adjustment. So I don't have time to always range, change your single pin, put a camera on the deer. Like, it's a lot going on.
100%.
I am the absolute worst at judging.
I'm pretty good at that.
Jimmy can, I mean, he's like, that deer's 19 and a half yards, and I range find, I'm like, 19.7. Damn.
But can you judge the size of a deer? Like, can you say, like, look at that thing and be like, oh, it's 130 point. I mean, not 130 point, 130
points.
inches.
Holy shit.
I'll take that one. Where are you hunting?
Seriously.
No. I mean, I get close, but
not bad,
but I'm pretty good at yardage. You know?
Yeah. I always find it funny. Like, people post trail cam pictures of their buck or like a buck, and it's like, oh, this is a buck I'm going after this year. I'm going to get him down this year, and then like they say he's like 140 inch buck, and I'm like, how do you judge it? Like, I look at these buck, and I'm like, yeah, it's a nice buck. I'd shoot it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, how many points is it? 1, 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I see 3 on the side. All right, big enough. Like,
right.
That's how I look
Maybe
at it.
that simplifies it. Like, shooter or not shooter. Let's
Right.
just go that way. Is it a shooter or is it a not shooter? Not, oh, that's 129 inches. Well, he's got a kicker, so maybe 131. Like, you're pretty good at that, Jimmy.
It's decent, but I don't, And this area, like, exactly what you said about shooter or not shooter.
Yeah.
Like, this area is tough.
Oh, yeah.
So
Very pressured, very, like, the public land we hunt, and I'm guessing the public land you guys hunt too, it is extremely pressured. You get 3 on one side, and 90% of the hunters out there are going to shoot that deer. So you can't be as picky.
No.
With that being said, we've got some absolute studs. Like, where we hunt, there was a monster buck that ended up getting killed on private, but he was over 170 inches. So
He's 177 inches.
so there are some studs out there if you can wait, but unfortunately, it's like you're at the mercy to your spot and the hunters around you.
You can't, and where we hunt on our public spot, you can't get away from, like, it's not like Western PA. Like, you can't get away from everybody. There's horse trails
Mountain bike
everywhere,
trails,
mountain
horse
bikes.
trails.
Like,
Yep.
I can't tell you how many horses we saw in our stand.
Nothing
Like,
is more frustrating than sitting here and you hear something in the distance. You're like, oh, here he comes. And you click into your release. And then here comes a bright white horse up over the hill. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to start packing up for the day. Like, take the camera off. And was it 2 years ago? Opening day, I get into my stand. I had a ladder stand on public. I'm walking in, and some guy's up in a tree yelling at me, like, hey, whistling at me. I'm like, flashing his light at me. I'm like, yeah, I see you, but I got a ladder stand here. Like, I'm gonna hunt it. I don't know what else. Like, you're in a climber. You can move anything. I'm like, he keeps whistling at me. I turn on, like, I see you. Like, it's right before first line. God. So I climb up in my stand, and sun comes up. We're like, if maybe 50 yards apart, and I'm like, I hate public land, man. I'm sitting here like, you got it.
You hate it, but you love it.
Yeah,
I had that this year with rifle. Like, I had a stand pre-hung all year, like over this community scraper outside
Excited
bedding.
to hunt it, yeah.
Yep. I go there for a rifle. Like, I hunted it during archery, but I saw one really nice 8-point, had a button buck come to me, saw like a doe bypass me too. Like, there's activity there. Like, my trail camera there's a lot of activity. And I set up this for rifle because I'm like, okay, people are going to be going to their spot. They're going to push them out of the bedding.
Yep.
And there's apparently this guy keeps a climber locked on a tree all year long.
Yeah, Jimmy had that this year too.
And like, he climbs up it, and I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Hello, you know what I mean? Especially in rifle season, it's super sketchy because it's like, you don't know this guy. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like, what's his safety? Is his safety on? Is he being, you know what I mean? Careful where your shot goes. Like, that's public land. I mean, that's definitely part of it.
Well, I hung up a trail camera where we saw that 177-inch buck.
And the thickest stuff. I mean, there's 3 trees in there that you can even get. Like, he was
I hung
had
out
on
of
a
a saddle,
Yeah,
so-
it was thick in there.
And it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks left of archery season. And I go in one day, and all of a sudden, right in front of my camera is this, same as you. It had a chain on it, a climber.
Old climber, like
And-
Loggy Bayou, like old stuff.
And I was pissed about it, and I was like, I mean, there's nothing I can do. So I got my sticks, and I pushed down even further. And I had a couple bucks on camera down there, but
you know, it's not the end of the world, but then
Right.
you see a guy smoking a cigarette in the woods, and you're like, the first years we're hunting on public land we hunt, and over a spot I killed a nice 10-pointer, and we're sitting in the parking lot one day. I guess after we were hunting, we got back to the truck and we're sitting there shooting the shit. And then we hear like from 500 yards out, ching, 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 ching. I'm like, what the hell is that sound? Here comes this older guy. I mean, he was old. And he comes out. He has a climber on his back, but he had it chained together. And the chain is just smacking with every step off the back of his climber. I'm like, you walked in like that? Like, no wonder we didn't see any deer. Like,
Well,
he
how
heard you
about
from
when
the street.
you killed that 10-point? There was a guy actually laying in the same field.
Oh, my gosh. I killed a
Laying
10-point.
in this
He was
field?
laying in the field with a crossbow.
Yeah, I killed
He killed that 10-point.
Yeah.
The guy didn't even know he killed it.
I killed a 10-point. So the buck came out into soy. First day of the season, I'd been scouting him all year over this soy field because they grow soy on the public land. It rotates, but it was soy that year. So I'd go out there and sit and watch, and I knew where this 10-pointer was coming out. So we hang the stand. I mean, if you look at the stand, it was, looking back, like probably wasn't the best spot. It was on the corner of this field, wide open, like literally
maybe 50 yards off the road.
Yeah, 50 yards, barely off the road.
That's sometimes the best spot.
That's it.
Right off
And
the
I was
road.
seeing this buck, right? It was a 10-pointer that I'd been happy to kill, so I hung the stand there. And I'm sitting there, and the very first day, no one was hunting around me, and I saw this buck. And so I moved the stand a little bit. And for the second day, I went to Dunham's, I didn't have any gear at the time, so I bought sticks and a hang-on, and I tried to move the stand closer to where that buck was day 2. Buck never showed up. Day 3, I went back to my initial ladder stand, and I'm hunting in there, and this guy comes walking past me. It's the third day archery, and it's like 80 degrees out. This guy has a full orange bodysuit, and he walks right past me, sees me, like gives me the head nod, and just walks right past me. I'm like, oh, okay, he's probably going pretty far back. Gets like 100 yards down from me on the field, lays on his belly. I don't even know if he was awake, honestly, when the deer came out. Lays on his belly with his crossbow over this soy field. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I guess this buck comes out, and he was just over 50 yards. It was a far shot for me at the time. And I'm like, do I shoot him? Do I not shoot him? He was broadside, no idea. He was just eating the soy. And I'm like, if I don't, this guy's gonna. If he gets down there, like I know I can take him. So I shot him. He piled up in the soy field, like somewhere halfway between us. And I'm thinking for sure, like the guy's awake. I can see him looking around. I'm like, he had to have seen that. Like the buck just crashed through the soy field and piled up. And I might have even like celebrated a little bit. This guy gets up. It was last light. 10 minutes later, this guy gets up, puts his crossbow on his back, walks right past me, waves to me again, like nothing. He didn't even see the deer go down. I'm like, man, what's that guy doing down there? But that's a public land hunter. Like,
Yeah.
You don't know if the guy's sitting there on his phone or falling asleep or what. But
Well, also, when you lay on your stomach, you don't see as far as
Nothing.
you think. If
You
you're on a
see
hill,
nothing. You don't
see
it
anything.
makes sense.
we're
Especially with
over a
those
soybean
soybeans,
field
yeah.
that's over knee high. I'm like, what is this guy? I think he was hoping they'd come out from the. I don't know, but yeah, that.
I mean,
was-
that's questionable at best.
Yeah,
honestly.
we got the buck, and it was very close to the road. It was the easiest drag out ever. Like, and I think about that all the time. Like, now we're hunting on that same property 2 miles back. Like I killed a buck there 2 years ago on public, a nice buck. The drag out was miserable. It took us like 4.5 hours to get the steer out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was miserable, and I'm thinking like,
And that's even with horse trails, too.
yeah, right. With
Yeah.
trails, like it took forever to get out. I'm like, am I hunting in the wrong spot? Like,
Yeah.
you think like you got to get away from people, but I killed that buck the third day right off the street. It's weird, man. You never. It's like maybe the overlooked spots really are the best spots.
But that's the thing is like we run all these trail cams, we do all this scouting, and you have all these spots picked out. Like
Yeah.
you're
Right.
like, oh, I'm going to kill one here.
Yeah.
But really in your mind, like when you set up that spot, you're always like, oh, well, what about this spot
Yeah.
over here? Like I should be set up over there because it's going to come from that way today.
Absolutely.
And it always plays in my mind. I think as hunters, if you put so much time in and you scout all the time, like you're going to overthink things
Oh.
Yeah,
10
that's why-
times out of 10.
I'm the overthinking. Jimmy gets pissed. We'll go upstate and we're hunting out of climbers, and I'll start
he's giving
climbing.
you the daggers.
Yeah,
right now.
he knows. I'll start climbing a tree, and I get like. And by the way, I'm also afraid of heights. Like I hate.
Deathly scared. of
Yeah,
heights.
like I'll get up there, but I'm not happy.
I'll be
about
honest, I hate tight spaces.
Yeah, okay.
I watched a movie. I forget what it was, but they were crawling through like a really tight spot, and I started hyperventilating. I was like,
I'm with
fuck this.
Yeah, I'm like that with heights. Like if I get into, like I'm hunting out of a lone wolf climber now. It's pretty secure. It feels pretty good. But
How are those, by the way? Are they heavy?
they're not heavy.
Okay.
They're just small.
They're small. Like
Yeah.
the seat on it is big enough for one butt cheek. So it's like if you're gonna do an all day sit, it's not the best.
So if you're a
stand.
big guy, it's like
Yeah.
half a butt.
Yeah.
So
half a butt cheek for us.
I
Okay.
mean, honestly, it's like when you it's nice because it packs up so tight on your back and it's very small and it's quick into the tree and it's all rubber straps, so it's no of those bullshit pins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not doing any of that. So it's quiet and it's quick and it's very light and it packs down to nothing on your back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's small. Like the seat platform is small. But with that being said, like it grips to the tree like no other stand I've ever felt. Like the teeth on that thing, on that Lone Wolf, it does grip. It's a good stand.
I almost feel you never get, if you're going to go light and compact, you never get comfortable.
Right. There's a line, right? You're going to give and take something. Like, yeah, you're getting the smaller profile. And the more I think about it, like I was hunting out of like a Summit, like a lounger, basically, like a recliner.
Sleep in that thing.
And that thing was really nice. But now looking back at it, like you're so big, you're such a big profile in the air, like no shit they're seeing you, right? Like you got this couch sitting up there. With mine, I'm literally tucked up against the tree. I mean, it's tight, but I'll start climbing a tree and I'm second guess everything when I'm hunting. I'll get like halfway up the tree and I'll start climbing down, and Jimmy and I are hunting, so we like to hunt like 100 yards from each other, and he's texting me like, what are you doing?
Shouting
like,
distance, right?
Yeah, oh, of course shouting distance, so we can film each other. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't like this tree, man, I gotta pick another one.
He literally one time climbed 4 different trees within 20 yards of each other.
And so I'm gonna sit there for a while. It better be the right tree. One time upstate, we were climbing up. I was like on my second or third tree that morning, getting into it, and deer. It was first light, and deer are coming through, and I'm just stopped, and I'm sitting. They're probably almost in shooting distance of me, and I'm just sitting there, like no bow up or anything. You know, I mean, just sitting
8
there,
8 feet off the ground at that point.
Yeah, just sitting there, watch the deer walk right by. I'm like, but I second guess everything when I hang a stand. It's tough, especially in the dark. Like, you start getting up a tree and you're in your climber and you're like, oh, okay, well, here's a branch. Or like, I can't get the climber over that. Or the tree's leaning too far back. And you know what I mean? That all comes into effect. But I like hunting out of a ladder stand. Like, we'll put a ladder stand each on or he'll put sticks in a hang on public land. So I like having that one designated spot where, like, hey, if you're hunting after work and you don't have time, just run out there quick and climb up into your ladder stand.
Absolutely.
So I like having that option too. But climbers are tough, especially picking a tree in the dark. If you don't have that tree preset.
Yeah.
And that's another thing a lot of guys talk about is, like, they say, I'm not going to hunt this day or this day, depending on wind, weather. Like, us here, I'm getting out every day I can.
Every day you can.
Every opportunity I have.
Yeah. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah, like they say, like, oh, the deer movement's not going to be good. It's warm out
because
today.
of the app?
Yeah,
Deercast
So don't get me started on the scam. Don't get me started.
Okay. All right. So here we go.
Let's start
Debate
it.
topic.
Oh, we're starting it.
Debate topic.
Yes.
It could be 2, actually, because I had 2 when you were talking about the height. I was talking about 2. So does height matter when you set a stand? And should you base your hunting, like going out hunting, on an app when it says it's good, great, okay, or poor?
Well, you can answer the app because that's
the app. I think you hunt when you can. Definitely play your wind, and so if I have that ladder stand set up and the wind's not right, then I'll take my climber and get around it and
or just turn the other way.
Right? Yeah. There you go. But I'll definitely, like, anytime I can get out, like, because we all have jobs, life. Life's busy. You got stuff going on. You only have so many weekends you can get out there and hunt. Like, if you have the opportunity to get out in the woods, get out in the woods. The app, the last 2 deer I've killed, the app said poor. Deercast has said poor. It's like that 10-point I killed on public land, it was like 83 degrees. Like, there's no reason that deer should have been walking through there an hour before shooting light ended, but he was. I mean, it's like, they're wild animals. It's like, the moon phases and all that crap. Like, I'm sure it does come into effect somewhat, but you never know. You can't shoot them from the couch. You got to get out there. So I don't care what the app says. If you have time to be in the woods, your chances are better than sitting at home. So get out and hunt.
We hunt every day.
Yeah, any day we can, we get out there. Now you answer the height question.
Well, as for height,
because I like to say no, it doesn't matter, but I do think it matters a little bit.
It matters, but I don't think it matters in the aspect of, like, if you're hunting low, as long as you have, like, some cover, like, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally like to go higher.
How
but
high?
Very high.
30,
I've seen this guy. This guy's half monkey. I've seen him hunt and shit that I'm like, I'm scared for him. Like, he's like, I'm going to hunt down. I'm like, text me when you get up, like his mom. Text me when you're up. Text me when you're down. Because if something happens to him, his mom's gonna kick my ass. Like, he hunts. There was a tree upstate with no sticks, nothing. He just
Climb the tree.
raw dogged it, gets right up in the tree, and I'm like 22 feet up, and I'm looking, like literally looking up. That tree had to be, you had to be
It's
30, 35. Yeah.
35
I mean,
feet.
he's at the top of a tree, a canopy,
With
and
no
a hang on.
sticks either.
No sticks. He
sticks.
just climbed the tree, pulls his bow up there, and he's.
It's a pine tree?
No, it was
No,
like
I'm trying to remember what kind of tree it was.
the ones that shed that bark all the time, that have that nasty bark.
What, the hickory?
No,
Ash? Not ash. You never climb an ash tree, right?
No, I thought it was like a...
whatever. It's a shitty tree, but it was high, and I like, so he humped down. I'm like, you are nuts, dude. Like he'll get high. I like to be high.
Do you work on telephone poles?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
He could though. I'm
I was
telling you
gonna say,
that. He
I feel
could.
like that would be the reason.
So like we'll go in and hang stands. Like, and the sketchiest thing is hanging a ladder stand. Like, so I switched like to the height debate. I switched to I have two now of the 22-foot. Mac Daddy, they're primal stands.
Yep.
They're 22-foot ladder stands. They're secure as hell. They're sturdy.
They're good stands.
Yeah, they're heavy to get in the woods, but they have that jaw that wraps around the tree before you climb it that you ratchet down. But the sketchiest thing is hanging a ladder stand 22 feet without it being really strapped to the tree. Just climbs right up there and straps it down. But I like
That's sketchy for me too. I don't like it.
yeah, no, I hate that. He'll climb up any tree. We go out. I don't set my own stands without Jimmy. He climbs up at first. Like, I'm like,
Hey, you
know
want to
if-
climb this tree for me?
Yeah, no,
In case
that's
it
what I'm
falls?
like. We get out there.
I don't know if he's ever hung his own.
No, we get out there and I'm like, I'll carry it. Like I'll carry it in there and I'll set it there. I'm like, okay, buddy, go ahead. You know what I mean? Like I'm holding it for you. But I do think the height helps because like even sitting in those 22 footers, you can get away with more movement. Yeah. And for like more than that, I think your scent too. If your scent stays a little higher up, it's just a little advantage. And plus when you're up high, you can always see more. So I like to hunt high, but
yeah, it all depends on your cover and how
what do you think, Cody? What do you think, the height or
I don't. My height is like 12, 14 feet.
Yeah, okay.
That's like saddle.
That's what
I did
I
a
like.
saddle this year, and like that's where I stuck, and I was like, I think it's all depends on your comfortability.
Yeah,
really. Like, I didn't get spotted. Like the button buck walked right underneath me and he saw me.
Yeah.
The one that I thought you shot walked right underneath me 8 yards, and then he looked up and saw me.
Yeah.
Like so. I don't really consider height to matter as long as you're playing the wind as well.
That's most important.
Like
Absolutely.
the wind, thermals, all that kind of stuff. If you thermals and wind are in your favor, I don't think the height. You could be like 8 to 14 feet off the ground. I think you're fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, that's
and if
just
you
my
have
opinion.
cover behind you too, like
Yes.
if you're on a telephone pole tree in the middle of, you're gonna stand
field.
out. You know what I mean? Like, and I tend to hunt more open. Like Jimmy hunts thick, I hunt open. That's just how we are. I've ADD. I don't like to sit there and not see anything.
Yep.
Jimmy will sit there for 2 weeks, not see a deer. As long as the one deer comes through, then he's happy.
Yep.
For me, I would rather see like a good night for me hunting. Like we're in PA. A good night for me hunting is seeing 3 or 4 doe. You know what I mean?
Yes.
80 yards away, not getting a shot, but still seeing them. So I tend to hunt more open. So I think I do need to get a little higher. He hunts in some of the thickest, nastiest stuff. And then he shoots a doe and we have to drag it out 4 hours.
Well, that story of that high tree stand upstate.
Yeah.
Remember that doe story?
Oh. Where I'm happy to shoot a doe, right? Like
Right.
Jimmy's killed more deer than me. I'm tickled pink to shoot a doe. And I always want one of us to kill a doe. Like, break the seal. Let's get this thing over with. Somebody get a deer. Let's get it butchered, you know what I mean? Let's get in the groove here. And we go upstate and he says, we're not going to shoot a doe till the last day. We're here for a buck. And if we shoot a doe at the last day on our last sit, then cool. Well, a doe comes out. There's like 5 doe to my right of me. They're like 15 yards. And I'm texting Jimmy like, hey, he's in that really high stand, and I'm pretty high up too. They're like 15 yards from him. I'm like, should I take a doe? His text back is, no, not yet. Too early. Buck might come in. Okay.
I saw it from 80 yards away before you even saw him.
No. Well, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that sounds fair. Okay.
Yeah.
So I watch these doe, and I'm itching. Like my palms are sweating. I'm like, oh, you ladies are lucky. And there they go. They walk right away. I'm like, okay. Not 5 minutes later, a doe comes from the other side, passes Jimmy. I see the doe, probably late. I'm looking around. I see the doe late. I look up. Jimmy's full draw. Like, what happened? Not shooting a doe, right? Like, a buck might come, but literally 3 minutes and 10 seconds later, now it's okay. And he shoots at the doe, and I hear it whack, and this thing goes running off. And I thought for sure he hit it. Well,
it hit a tree branch.
It hit a tree branch, and it ricocheted and broke the arrow in the air, and it didn't hit the doe. But in my mind, he shot the doe.
Yeah.
So I'm a little pissed. I'm like, oh, well, now it's time to shoot a doe. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
yeah, this guy's killing a doe. You know what I mean? Like, Ryan can't get a doe. So I'll let it go, you know what I mean? Take a couple deep breaths. I'm like, whatever, okay. 5 minutes later, here comes another doe. Right out in the same field. And now it's working to me. Like, I'm going to eventually get a shot at it, but Jimmy's 40 yards closer to it than I am. I look up. Son of a bitch is pulling his bow back. There's no way. So I'm clicking into my bow. Like, can I rip this shot before he does? Like, all right, it's 60 yards from me. It's 10 yards from him. It's too far from me. Whack. Another one. Now I can see it was hit for sure. Runs the same way.
Went 10 yards.
So, like 20 minutes later, we get down. He's all excited. Comes over. Like, hey, you see that? I'm like, yeah, I saw it. You son of a bitch, I saw it. Yeah. So I'm giving him shit. Here it was the same doe. He missed the first doe. She went up into the woods and then got curious and came back.
Yeah, she never left. I could see her the whole time. She just went in like 10 yards and then she finally came back out.
Oh my god.
So she came back out. He ended up shooting it. But I was so pissed when I'm like, within 3 minutes, it was still wrong. I'm not. I still should have been able to shoot my doe first, but I thought he killed two. I was so pissed. I was like,
oh my god,
what are you doing?
Sometimes it just
Oh yeah, we had
you.
one on public land, and there's a little buck, and he's like, if it's small, I'm going to let it work past me and get to you.
so you can shoot.
Yeah, right. So you can shoot it.
Makes sense.
Sure as shit. Here comes a little buck. And I was like
I ain't gonna lie, I panicked on this.
It was a little basket, and he's coming up to me, and I'd seen it late. Jimmy's like 30 yards in front of me. I'd seen it late. But when I did see the deer, it was standing at Jimmy broadside, and I look up, and he's full draw. I'm like,
yeah, okay. Let's tell the full story. So this deer is coming up. It's working up the mountain, right? We're on top of the ridge, and
this part's debatable.
It's not. It stops at like 10 yards and looks straight up at me.
Freaking Jimmy quick draw here. The deer makes eye contact with Jimmy. He's up pulling his bow back before the thing could even blink.
Yeah, I panicked.
And whack! Lets the arrow go. That deer died. I've never seen a deer die quicker. It maybe made it 10 yards. It was running and just collapsed. I mean, I guess you hard shot. I don't remember, but the deer died in like 10 yards. And I'm looking at the deer, looking up at him like,
it's crazy because I would never think of shooting a deer like that.
Yeah.
But like when it looked up at me, something just hit me and I panicked. And I was like, there's no way I'm letting this deer go.
So Jimmy got it. Yep. And I ended up shouldering it. We like Cam Haines style. We put it on our shoulder. It wasn't a very big deer, so we throw it over our shoulder, and we're carrying it out. But it's still it's like midday now, and we're going out, and there's a dad and his kid coming in, and like the deer's on my shoulders at the point we're taking turns carrying it, and we're getting it off the public, and the dad and the kid's walking in, and the little kid's like, "Wow, look at that!"
He thought it was the greatest.
He thought it was the coolest thing, and I was like, "That's just a baby, buddy." But yeah, Jimmy killed that deer. I'm like, man, like you get around this guy, you know what I mean? Like he's killing the deer. I'm telling you that. Like,
I think that's why you and I don't hunt near each other ever. We used when we first started hunting together, we would literally sit we'd be on the ground. Like I didn't get into hunting in trees until this past season.
Okay.
So I would always hunt on the ground. So we would hunt on the ground together. He would be on one side of the tree. I'd be on the other side of the tree. We'd sit in. I'm really glad we don't do that now because I'll let a doe pass. Send it.
No. Let's go back here. All right. So we were sitting in a tree, and these two doe came up. A mom and her, it was like a year-old doe.
It was at least
behind
a year-old, yeah.
And I was like, I looked at her. I looked at him, and was like, "Don't move."
What do I do?
And he moves like crazy, like trying to see this deer.
I'm just like,
and she blows and runs off. I'm like, this is during rifle too.
First light.
Yeah, right down the trail. I was like, it's perfect. Like big old nanny doe.
And you just start going.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they both take off, and I'm like, I'm never fucking hunting with you again. Never again.
Yeah,
But
we've never hunted. We've always been to the same places. We always go up to camp together.
Mm-hmm.
We're 5 miles apart.
Absolutely.
When we're hunting, we're never together. Like
you're on the other mountain.
we're
I'm
on
this mountain.
different mountains at that
I'll
point.
text you.
We try to stay
Yeah.
close because of filming. Like,
Yeah.
if he can film me killing a deer, or I can film him. And like Jimmy's the first one to give you the shot. Like upstate, he was like, "You sit." We saw that buck. He's like, "You sit to stand tomorrow." Like, just when it happens in real life, he panics. But like goose hunting, he's the exact opposite. Like when we go out to goose hunt and do any waterfowl hunting, he's like, no. Like he'll film the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many geese he killed this year. He's okay to film. And like I want to shoot the goose. You know what I mean? Like they're coming in like I want to shoot the goose.
I look at it like your buddy shoots a deer or a goose or whatever. Like I'm just as happy you killing that as if it would be me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
it's all like that's why I'm like as soon as the first day of the season, I'm like, all right, someone needs to kill a doe.
Yeah.
Like, let's get something down here. Like, I don't care if it's you or me.
I'm the total opposite of that.
Yeah,
Like,
Jimmy doesn't want to kill a doe till like the very end of the year. You rarely do kill a doe.
yeah. And Ryan,
if it's brown, it's down. I mean, I'm the doe. I
he's
don't know.
texting me first day. I mean, it might be 10 o'clock. Dude, we haven't killed a doe yet. Like, just freaking out.
I don't know, man. Once you get a doe,
all right.
it's like you get meat in the freezer and
It's
you're
so
good.
much
And
pressure
like, yeah, it's
off
like
your shoulders.
it's off your shoulders. Like now you can really focus on a big buck because like, what do? It's the end of the season and you don't have any deer. Like that sucks, right?
Yeah.
So like you get meat in the freezer, you're good to go. Give me the doe. I don't know.
Well,
I still
I'm
get
the same
jazzed
way.
up shooting a doe.
I
Like,
get a doe.
I don't know about you guys, but I shoot a doe and I'm still like shaky, pumped. Like it's crazy. You would think, you know what I mean? It's a 140-inch buck, but I still get pumped to shoot a doe.
I was like
absolutely.
that this year. I shot my doe in rifle season, the first Sunday rifle season. I shot my doe, man. I'm punching the air.
yeah,
I'm happy as shit.
Yeah.
Like I was so happy.
Because people
That's
don't
what
get
matters.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think like a lot of the Midwest hunters, like they don't get it, but even to shoot a doe in Pennsylvania is not that easy. Like to get on the deer, doe or buck, and get it killed, it's still hard to do here.
Well, what
And-
was that thing on Instagram the other day you saw about 120 inches? Remember that?
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
I know
See
what
that?
you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah,
it's like
10%.
10%.
Yeah, less than 10% of hunters will ever kill a deer 120 inches or 125 and above. So that, like, think about how
That's
many hunters
crazy.
are. That's out of their lifetime. So think about that. Like that's, you see these
And
big
you already
bucks.
did that.
Yeah, right. And it's like, so we're okay. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day,
Good
it's
job,
like,
buddy.
yeah,
Yeah.
like justifiable, right? But you think about it, you're like, you see this shit on Instagram and these guys out in Iowa and they're posting, like maybe they're posting a video of a 140-inch buck walking on them like next year. You know what I mean? You can't compare yourself to those guys. Like
Yeah.
shoot what you're happy with, not what this guy out in Iowa who has 200 acres of private land and has a 200-inch deer on camera that's
Absolutely.
passing. Like that's not realistic. Like it's like you got to play to where
And we're
you
not
are.
knocking on them.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
yeah, I think
you
it's
know.
great if you can shoot them, but also if it makes you happy and you're like, this buck I killed at the end of last year, it's the smallest buck,
You've ever
one
shot,
or two of the
yeah.
smallest bucks I've ever killed. Probably one of the most excited, just because of the season and having that deer stolen on public and like going through all that and like grinding it out. And I started in September and now I'm in January and I hunted every second I could. And to finally close the door and get the buck, it's just like that deer meant more to me than killing a 150. Like it just meant so much. So like that's what I try to tell people all the time too. And we get caught up in it, like everybody does. Especially now we're in the YouTube space. Like it's tough not to see guys killing huge
That's
deer and be like,
some
I
crazy
have to
win.
kill a big deer. But
Yeah.
you don't have to. Like just kill what makes you happy and harvest the deer, and that's awesome. So
And I want to hear that story, but first I got to break the seal. So we're going to
Yeah,
yeah,
boy.
let's do that. I got it too.
Yeah, he's boring.
We're back.
Again.
Yeah, we're back in the saddle again. But I just sold my saddle. So
Did you sell your saddle?
did.
You're not a
I
saddle?
did.
Hey, something about not liking heights. I don't like that saddle.
it wasn't bad.
You got to get used to it.
Wasn't bad,
He's
though.
a saddle hunter, and
Yeah.
I'm so envious a lot of times when I see him get into like these little rinky-dink trees, and I'm like, shit, I could never get the climber in there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's hunting, and I'm like, but something about hanging by the rope up there. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man.
I was out in Illinois. I was in this really skinny tree, like maybe my thigh size. Dude,
Oh shit.
the doe saw me from like 150 yards away because I was like tree was swaying,
Yeah, swaying,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh god.
That's like the buck that I missed out on this year. Remember?
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
in a tree just about
Mm-hmm.
that size, and
Oh yeah, that's about the size of your thigh.
yeah. And I'm up there, and I hear this noise behind me, so in the pine thicket, and I turn around in my saddle, and I see that it's a deer. I can't see antlers, and he comes down a little further, and I see him rubbing on a tree, but I still can't see antlers. I'm like, so he must be a little buck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he steps out into the one opening I have, and I mean just a massive wide.
Oh, he's
eight-pointer.
not little.
No, like I guarantee, like how we were talking about earlier, but I'm thinking around 140.
Yeah.
I mean, huge 8-pointer, and I wasn't ready for him because I thought I
Yeah.
couldn't see antlers. Like,
And plus, where he's talking about hunting, it's where that 170-inch, that 177
Yeah.
we caught on camera.
it was
the year
literally
before.
right. Yeah.
It's in that. It's so thick in there, man. Like, it's almost like I shed hunted it this year, and it's like it's almost just too thick to walk through to shed hunt. Like even in
Yeah.
the winter when everything's dead, right? You're
Yep.
still like on your hands and knees through some of the shit. It is thick. Like you can't see anything in there. It is thick.
But
so
yeah, getting back to it, that the reason why I wasn't ready was because like that tree was so skinny that like when I tried turning all the way around.
Yeah.
Like I felt,
The whole
you know,
tree
Yes.
it just didn't work out.
So what do you hunt now? Do you do?
Well, we're going to be hang-ons.
Yep.
I think we're partnering up with a company.
Okay, cool.
But I have a conversation with him tomorrow. But obviously, when this airs, it's
Yeah.
going to be
Right.
already done deal. But yeah, so it's going to be hang on. They have a saddle that I might go with as well.
Yeah.
Just because saddles are nice, especially for in the evening. Like if I get out off at work and I'm able to go out, it's real quick.
It's
jump
tough
up.
to do an all day sit in a saddle.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's I see him sitting on. I'm like, dude, what? Like, it's tough to do an all day sitting on
Yeah.
a flat.
And
You know what I mean?
Listen to this. I'm so cheap too. So like, I don't even
yeah,
have a
dude.
platform.
He stands on the top of his steps on his last
Hey,
step.
hey,
Yeah.
you know
And it
that's the thing.
sucks.
That's another conversation that we have to have too, because hunting is getting so fucking expensive,
So
dude.
Oh my gosh.
It's
yeah.
like you can buy the lightest stand, but it's also going to be like $700 for that stand.
I just think of what do I need more? Like,
Yeah.
And right now I can bear it not having a platform. I just
Right.
stand on the top of my steps. Now, by the time I'm done hunting, my knees, my legs, my butt, everything is gone. But
It's crazy too. Like, you look at the price of like everything has gone up too from COVID.
Yeah.
Obviously, like broadheads now. You're spending $55 for 3 broadheads. It's
Yeah.
like, you think twice about whacking a doe with it. You know what I mean? Like, you got like, you think about your like I shoot Full Metal Jacket arrows, so you got you know what I mean. $15 in your arrow, $15 in your broadhead. Like, you're like $35-$40 a shot now. with
And you're
this
like, man,
thing.
I
It's
don't
like,
want to lose this arrow and
right.
broadhead.
It's like you break
Yeah.
the arrow. And you're like, well, it was worth it, I guess.
Yeah.
But like you know what I mean? Like I shot at a fox this year and missed out. Like, $35. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it does make you think. Hunting has gotten so the bow is like okay. So what? I'm a Hoyt guy. He's a Matthews guy.
wow, wow.
Yeah. So there's some tension there.
There's
I
some
mean,
tension there.
I mean the Hoyt's better, but it doesn't matter.
I shoot a
you know?
bear,
Okay. So we got
Yeah.
a bear guy in here. But
an off-brand bear.
there,
It's a blackout.
see, and that's what it's like. My
As long
biggest
as it
buck,
gets it done.
yeah, my
Right.
biggest buck I ever shot that one at his farm was with a PSC, like the first bow I ever bought in some Walmart camo, like legitimately bought the camo from Walmart.
Right.
And now I'm wearing like top of the line camo. That Hoyt bow, it's a $1,500 bow. Their new Hoyt bows, this year's bows, $2,000. We're just in Lancaster Archery, not even for the carbon ones. $2,000, $1,900. Like,
Well, look at camo too. It's like
oh my god,
and camo doesn't help you
No.
get a deer down.
No.
But yet,
But
here I am.
Also,
I wanna-
take my credit card, right?
you
Like,
notice how Ethan and I are wearing the same brand.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, you try and buy stuff that is affordable, but yet also you like you can wear it on a daily basis.
well, that's
you
the
know?
thing too. It's like here's kind of my justification to that. So I'm starting to like I have a newer Hoyt, and I'm starting to like.
Yeah.
I'm also like any advantage. Like this is the one thing I'm obsessed with. So any little advantage I can get, I'm taking. Like
Yep.
I need it. Like
Right.
So I think with the camo, it's not so much of the deer seeing you. It's just like that, like you said, like the comfortability. Like,
Yes.
can I sit
But you
all
know
day
what?
in
A lot
this?
of those high-end camos, they don't work well in our area.
Yeah.
Like Sitka, like they have a bunch of stuff out, but
Kuyu.
Yeah,
It doesn't really, like-
there's that new
like that stuff works here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This stuff.
Habit. By the way, it's
Hello.
Habit Outdoors.
Yeah.
Good old habit.
Go check it out.
I use the Cabela's brand I got
Yeah.
this year. Cabela's
Instinct.
Instinct. And
Yes,
it's like
yep.
it's like not their cheapest camo, but it's cheaper than like let's say you bought Sitka or you know what I mean, like Under Armour Ridge Reaper. Like I like that pattern 'cause Cam Haynes, but so it's like
Man, do you have a poster of him in your?
I
in
think
your
you
room?
do.
I have his book.
Shrine,
Hey, I
brother.
have his book signed. Okay, yeah.
Get the fuck
Yeah,
out.
He's
don't even
obsessed.
put your hands on it. I don't want your fingerprints on that thing.
Frame
Yeah.
that sucker. Here we go.
He got cut from Under Armour, and I'm so loyal to Cam Haynes. This is so
We
stupid.
stopped wearing Under Armour.
I swear to God, I'm like I'm done with Under Armour
Yeah.
because they cut him over some political shit he said because
Yeah.
he's a Republican and he said something that he shouldn't have or like they didn't agree with. So they said, well, we're gonna cut him. We're gonna cut ties with him. So. When that happened, I'm like, okay, I'm done wearing Under Armour.
Yeah.
Like I'm that loyal. It's like the guy got me into bow hunting. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like I don't know the guy, and I'm not
I was
friends
gonna say,
with him. Like,
did you reach out to him at all?
No, I never
reach out to
have.
him?
Like
Yeah,
when
okay.
when Drawback Outdoors
his
gets
DMs
to
every day.
Yeah, I message him every morning. Like, good morning, Cam. Have a great day. but we
like
were
a
just
text
at
you
Lancaster
send them.
Archery, and there's a Keep Hammering shirt. I'm buying it. Like
Yeah.
I don't. It's the guy. I feel like I almost owe the guy something because he really did get me into like my biggest passion. Right. Like without seeing that Instagram post, like would I have eventually found it? Maybe not. You know what I mean? So like I do kind of feel like I ran marathons because he's an ultra marathon runner.
shit.
Like,
Okay.
So I mean, I do like when he cut with Under Armour. I'm like, cool, done. And now he started his own camo line, Origin. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Him and
Yeah.
Jocko, and I think Joe Rogan's he's invested in that company too. But it's all American made. Even the thread in there is from America. Like everything's manufactured, and even the cloth all comes from inside the U.S. And they're saying it's like pretty badass gear, but it's expensive.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when everything's USA made.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy it for this year. Like I think so. My camo I run now is more of like warmer or colder weather. So I think I'm gonna get their lightweight stuff.
Yeah.
And give it a shot this year. But these guys go nuts. Like, I mean, I was hunting down in Texas on a ranch with their guys had some on the King Ranch down in Texas, and these guys had some serious. Like this ranch I was on, it was a very very
For the
expensive.
hogs, right?
Yeah, I hunted
Yep.
hogs down there, but there are bucks walking around. I mean, 160, 170 inch deer. They're just walking into feeders. It's a different animal. Like you're in this ranch that they lease off the King Ranch is 40,000 acres. So a guide takes you out and drops you off in a stand. It's 40 minutes through like sandy back roads, and they just drop you off. Like, we'll pick you up at night. And that night I shot the hogs. There's a slow glow feeder there, so.
We shot a javelina too.
Yeah, I shot a javelina and 2 hogs. But the night I shot the hogs, yeah, and I'm such an idiot. Like I'm PA boy, right? I shoot a javelina, and I text the guide. And even we have a YouTube video, guys. Go watch that YouTube video.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
That I shoot the javelina, and I go, I just shot a hog. And I didn't know. Like I'm from Pennsylvania. Like I see a little black thing walk under me, and I shoot it, and I swear I thought it was a hog. And it turns out it was a javelina.
Yeah, I'm editing. I'm like, this is not a hog, so I had to put it in there like. Javelina.
Not hog, yeah, but I even texted the guide, right? So the guide dropped me off, and he was hunting a little bit down from me. I said, hey, I just shot a javelina. And a lot of times it's so thick in Texas, like not thick like we have. It's like scrub brush. It's like 7-8 feet tall, but it's so thick when they go in there, they're gone.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll shoot a javelina or a hog, and they're tough animals. With a bow, you usually don't recover them. Like if they get into that stuff, they leave them. You can't go.
Yeah.
And so he's like, did you see it go down? I'm like, yeah, I hard punched it. It's like 15 yards from me.
Recovered all
Laying
3
there.
of them.
Yeah, and he was like, well, you want me to come get it? I'm like, no, you keep hunting. Like, I'm good. Like, my night's fulfilled. I shot a hog.
Right.
And the guide shows back up, and he's like, it's not a hog, that's a javelina. I'm like, oh. Was I allowed to? She's like, yeah, you can shoot those. I'm like, okay. He's like, but next time, you know what I mean? Like, the ones without the fur are the hogs. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, I'm from Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? We don't have
They all look like
javelinas.
hogs to me.
Yeah,
It all looks
they
like a
look
hog.
to me. But when I did shoot those hogs, they have a slow glow feeder, so I shot one at last light, and it ran off, and then I got down out of the tree stand. You hunt like platform stands there, and like these real short oak trees, and I got down to go get that near, and the hogs were coming back in. Well, they have this light called a slow glow. When the the corn's out there, and when it senses movement, it starts really dull and slowly gets brighter, and it's a green light. And so it doesn't just flick on and scare all the animals.
Right.
It slowly gets brighter, so they're used to it. It's wild. And so it's slowly getting slightly more green. And in the footage we have, you can't see any. It's dark. And so I shoot the second hog, and after it, you hear the hog like, "Arr, arr," he's making all these noises. And then in the video, you can hear these coyotes, man. They're like, ow, 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 everywhere, man. And I was like,
I love his noises. You know?
I got back up in the tree. I was scared. I texted the guide. I texted my buddy. We were there for his bachelor party. I was like, have somebody come get me right now. And I was sitting there, like, I'm on the ground, and I get both the hogs, and I like line them up, and like now I'm over 150, 250 pounds of dead hog.
Yeah.
I hear these coyotes. It sounds like my hair on my back and my neck standing up, like the fox. Remember that fox is here? The hair on the back of my neck standing up. And
That's
I'm
a great story, by the way.
the fox. You guys know what a fox sounds like in the woods? Like, have you ever heard one bark?
What does the fox say?
Yeah, no, it's
This guy texts me, man.
I freaked out. I'm hunting up at that place in right outside of Reading in Moton, and there's no the guy's property we hunt. He doesn't have a house up there, so I'm getting out of the woods like normal, and I hear like this god awful. It was like, "Arf!" And I was like, I panicked. I'm like, what the hell was that? And like it gave me goosebumps. It was loud.
Yeah.
And it almost sounded like a kid, right? So I was like,
Screaming for help.
yeah, like someone screaming for help, like they're lost. I'm like, we're up on this mountain, like maybe someone is lost. I'm like,
Near Reading. So
yeah,
I mean,
right. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, hello? and then I nothing, right? So I start walking like a little bit faster, and I hear it again, and it's even closer. Now I got my bow in my hand. I'm at a full sprint through the mountain, like down the mountain, jumping over logs. I'm like, I can see my pickup truck in the field. I'm sprinting I keep hearing this thing. I like throw my bow in the back of the truck, get in there, like turn the lights on in the truck, like put my window down, and I'm just listening. And I keep hearing it. I ended up videotaping it to send to Jimmy, but I had no idea it was like this nasty, like scream thing. I'm like, what the hell is that? Turns out it was a fox. I sent it to Jimmy. I'm like, something was in the woods. It was so bad. Down the mountain, there's houses, and I thought about knocking on the door and saying, hey, keep your kids inside. Like, I don't know what's out here, but it's
one of your
hungry.
kids missing?
One of your kids missing? Yeah.
Like, whatever's out here patrolling this area, you can stay locked up.
I simply texted him back and was like, no, it's a fox.
And I sent the video to Jimmy, and he's like, it's a fox. I'm like,
But I
no.
would have been the same way.
Well, I looked up
know,
fox screaming, and Jimmy does a fair bit of predator hunting. I looked up fox. That's what they sound like. They make this this awful screaming screech sound, but you hear it, and like, you know, like you ever been walking into your spot in the morning and like a grouse jumps up or anything, it scares the shit out of you, right? Because it's so quiet and so dark, and like you're not afraid as you're walking, but something happens, and you're immediately like it just scares the shit out of you.
We gotta save these clips so we can get these sounds back.
But no, I heard that thing, and immediately I was panicking, like cold sweats, just sprinting down the mountain. Turns out it's a fox. So it's
we got to get him in the middle of the woods at night to hear a bobcat.
Oh, I've never heard of bobcat.
You would shit your pants.
What? Make the sound for me. Make the sound.
No.
Put it on the spot. Make the sound.
It's the only way the only way I can describe it is
I've heard one.
Picture a woman screaming Bloody Mary. And that's a bobcat. Like that's like mating season kind of.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it is like
scary.
it'd be the creepiest thing. You've
It's
ever
weird
heard
because when you're out in those woods and you're by yourself, and especially when you have a bow in your hand, you know what I mean? You're like, there's bears or shit out there.
If you have a rifle, it's fine.
Yeah, right. Like you're invincible. You know what I mean? Like not that I would hit it. You know what I mean? But I think I would. So
I would at least shoot it in the air.
A rifle, like my fiance is like, be careful out there. Oh, it's fine. I got a rifle. But when you go out there with my bow, I'm like, yeah, okay. Like I will be careful. You see? No, man, shit happens in the woods.
No,
like, and we're not even in Montana. You know what I mean? Like think about the bears and shit. I wouldn't even leave the truck. But like I heard that fox, man. I heard that fox, and like you know that viral. What does the fox say? Ring ding 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 ding. That fox doesn't go ring ding ding. No, he screams. Yeah, it's scary.
But like, it's like during archery, it's like, you know, can you wake up and at least say like, hey, I love you, and if I don't see you, you know, be safe, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, you wake your wife up or fiance or girlfriend or whatever, and like you're like, hey, can you like be safe?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it's like
season,
the climbing in, right? Like you climb up the tree stand, like shit happens, man. And like we hunt in some of the spots where we hunt, there's no service, so it's like it just adds that element of like we for a while we weren't really harnessing up like we should.
100%.
And what honestly made me really realize we should be doing it is like we're now filming for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's 2,000 subscribers now. It's not that big of a deal, but at 100,000,
that is a big deal, though.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah, it is for
hold
us,
on now.
Yeah.
When you think about like who you're broadcasting to, like, but when you get to like say we're at 100,000 videos, yeah, right. But when we get to like.
This is gonna go on forever.
King of the single moms over here.
That's the title of this episode, Single Moms.
Single moms.
But when you get
so
to
much
like
clickbait.
what message are you sending like to kids maybe just getting started, right? Like a guy watches my video who was like I was when I was just first starting to learn hunting, was watching YouTube videos like you should be setting that example, right? Like everything needs to be ethical, everything needs to be by the book, and you should be safe because like we started wearing harnesses this year. Well, the last 2 years I have been, but like a safety line takes 10 minutes to put a safety line in.
That's one thing I never used is a safety line.
They're so nice because look, once you hang your tree stand, you wrap it around the tree, you drop it down to the ground. Even climbing like a ladder stand, you're always hooked into that stand. Yeah. You get up and even like taking the shot, you feel like that buck I killed this year, it was at a real. So I'm a lefty, so so it adds a little bit of element. Like I'll sit in a stand for a righty, and it's not perfect for me to shoot, right? So sometimes I'm up leaning a little bit to try to get that drawback and. Drawback Outdoors, but when you get
when you get that drawback,
but when you draw back and like you want to lean over the edge of your tree stand to be clicked in, it's just so much more confidence.
I'm sorry, that was too good.
Transition that.
This guy, oh my god,
good.
character. Man.
But so we're trying to like set that example, and like and it's crazy because like the comfortability now of me sitting in a tree stand is through the roof with just that little harness on. It's like you buy a good one, and like I think mine's a Summit. Muddy makes a really nice one. Like not the ones that give you in the box with the tree stand, but like an actual one that buckles across you.
Yes.
You don't even feel it. You know what I mean?
The
It's
ones
fine.
that come in the box
I can't figure them out.
awful.
Right? Like they're like
Awful.
you're reading the manual. You're like, well, I built a tree stand. That was hard enough, right? Because they're coming 100 pieces, but you're looking at the throw it away. Like
Is this like almost like a sex swing? What is this?
yeah, it's like,
It's like a
wrapped
sex
around and wrapped the inner thigh tightly. Like that's why I'm like reading this. I'm like, no, I'm done. But if you do buy a nice one, like an aftermarket one, they're super comfortable, and it just adds like a little less worry of like, especially like you got a kid now, like you know what I mean. You just think about it, it's like
I've thought about it 100 times now. It's like
right, it's like less. I mean, and if you're 12 feet, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But when you get up to 22, 23, 35 over here, like if you fall, you're dead, or you're paralyzed. Something's gonna go wrong. Like, and every guy says it's not gonna happen to me. It's not gonna happen to me until it does. Right? Like you hear stories all the time of people falling out of tree stands. It's landing on a broadhead. Like, it should happen. So we started wearing them. I wear mine all the time, and immediately you just feel way more comfortable. I'd recommend, I mean, if you're not using it and you get a nice one, spend the money, spend $100 on a harness and a $20 a lifeline, and man.
Well, I mean, you think about it too, like a harness, like it's not that big a deal. And then also you think about how light these stands are getting now.
Yeah.
Like some weigh 6 pounds. 6 pounds is the lightest right now.
Right.
Like that's the lightest stand you can find.
Yeah.
And you're putting your life
on
like
6 pounds.
200 pounds is probably the average guy.
Yeah.
Like these stands are weighted for 350.
Yep.
Like something goes wrong with that. I mean, you better have a harness or something.
A strap, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
If it's on like a little nub on the tree and it's wearing weird, like you never know. And to be just that extra level of confidence, like it even makes that shot feel better. Like the last thing I want to think about as I get up and lean across here and take a shot on a deer is, am I sit? You know what I mean? When that's on there, it's like I could fall out of this tree and be hanging here and I'd be just fine. So I think it's really smart, and it's just that extra level of, especially when you no cell phone service, you fall out of that tree, you're laying there, then what? You know what I mean? I gotta wait for this idiot to come find me. You know what I mean? I might be out there for 3 weeks.
Where my cabin was, like I had no service at all.
Had nothing.
No one would have found me for. There's no trails going back there. No one would have found me for probably.
Oh, the bear and coyote would have found you first.
Yeah, they would have found me first before I even found it. Like
that's
it was.
how it was this weekend when I went up.
Yeah.
State. I had no service.
Elk County, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of elk, this is an elk, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, is Ryan gonna give us a break here to try this elk or what?
Yeah,
no. So this is beef jerky.
Okay.
One of our followers sent us to it. It's called Bag of Jerks. It's a sweet and spicy jerky. He sent it to me like a month ago, like when we ended our first podcast, last podcast. So figured might as well give him a little shout out here.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we're gonna try it while Ethan gives his beer tasting
My
review,
beer
and then I'll
review.
give
Let's
mine
hear it, dude.
because I'm pretty much done here too.
Yeah, now I gotta remember what it tasted like. No, I'm just kidding.
Here, you want a refresher?
No, I'm good. I gotta make it to work tonight. So I don't know. It wasn't like Junkyard Cow Milk Stout. Since we talked about it in the beginning episode, people might have forgot by now. It wasn't very milky.
Oh,
I don't know. For some reason, I expected
And I know milk.
milky, and I know milk. I drink whole milk. Whole milk's the best milk.
What kind of milk do you drink?
I'd like to
Breast milk.
counteract that.
Just kidding.
I'd like to counteract that.
Oy. I did like it. Obviously,
that's-
like I drank it.
Pause. That jerky is really fucking good.
Sweet and
Not
spicy,
gonna
I
lie.
like that a
Oh,
lot.
just
That is good.
Okay, that is really good.
That is fucking good. Like
And what is it again? Say it one more
it
time.
is Bag of Jerk. It says mild to wild jerky subscription. Sweet and spicy beef jerky.
Yeah,
Good
that's
job.
Oh yeah. All right, that's good.
They're from Is that California? Yeah, California.
Good. All right.
They have a lot of flavors too. So go check them out.
Yeah, that was good.
I'll give that 9.5 out of 10.
Okay, that's 9.5.
I'll give that 9.5 on the jerky. That's good.
What's
Anyway,
the stout? Let's
so
hear
the
the stout.
It's good.
One sip, everybody knows the rules.
I drink it again.
What's the rule here? We need it above 5.
Above 5, you drink it again. Anything under 5, wouldn't touch it. I'm gonna give it a 7.8.
Wow.
I like it.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
So I'll finish mine too. So I might as well give my rating. It's not as good as Lancaster Brewing Company beer.
Yeah, we really
So-
like that one.
Bag of jerk, I would also go 9.5. Like that's really freaking
Yeah,
good jerk.
that's top line.
That's smooth.
Yep.
You want some more?
Yeah, I'll take one more.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, jeez.
Jeez, Ryan.
Come on.
Party foul.
So obviously bag of jerk 9.5. Junkyard cow, I would go probably 6.5. Honestly,
Wow.
it's not as good as Lancaster Brewing Company. Obviously, doesn't go down as smooth, but it's still good. I would drink it again. I would also drink it at deer camp or fishing camp or whatever.
Oh yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah.
I forgot to give that.
And they only sell it in 4-packs, so there's that too.
4-packs. So, you know, it's probably a little extra pricey. 4-packs are always
So
pricey.
the price was $16.
I don't understand why. Why
$16.
can't you do 6? Give me a 6-pack.
$16 for a 4-pack, which is about average, I would say, for a brewing company, probably. I don't really buy from brewing companies that much because of that, because you got to buy a
pounders.
4-pack, and it's
Right.
like I got to buy like
Yeah.
8 of these.
All right, I'll do my review. What was that number you gave it?
My 6.5. Ethan, you want to do the math to see what it comes out to then?
Yeah.
Let's get another swig here. I'm almost done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'll never finish mine. I'm not a big.
Yeah, so Jimmy and I aren't huge drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
These are the first couple of beers I've had in probably since last year. But I'm getting married in December, so I need to start practicing.
Yeah,
building
you
up
need
some sort of
to
tolerance here, 'cause,
build the tolerance up. Drink some mics.
Yeah,
That apparently hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, right.
I looked at my wife and I was like, I can't see straight.
Stand up, sit back down.
It's like, don't give me the baby right
That's how I got to build up some. My fiance Paige, her family's from Long Island, so the wedding's in Long Island,
fuck.
and they're partiers. Like
Oh,
a wedding in
God.
Pennsylvania and a wedding in Long Island are two totally. Yeah, it's wild. So I got to build up some tolerance.
Ethan and I will wait
think-
for our invite.
Yeah, in the mail,
Yeah,
boys. In
okay,
the mail.
Appreciate it.
It's gonna be a blast.
I think I'm gonna give it a, and I take this with a grain of salt because if I do drink beer, it's usually just Yingling Lager. I'm gonna say it's an 8.3.
Okay.
It's easy for me to drink. Like normally, I think some of these craft beers, I'm like they're kind of hard to get down for me
Yeah,
because I'm not huge
100%.
into craft beer. This one's easy to drink. Like you can hand this to me, I can drink.
And that's
Yeah.
for when you said it didn't taste. I thought it tasted like chocolate milk a little bit.
Really?
I
Really?
did.
Huh.
That's the flavoring I got.
Maybe it's because it's been 15 minutes since I last drank it.
Yeah, maybe you guys say yeah.
It's been a good half hour since I've my list.
Yeah, you finished yours in
I finished
30
mine pretty
seconds.
quick.
We just started filming. It was done.
Yeah, done.
Do you want to talk about that public land buck you shot this year?
Oh, yeah, we can do a season recap. Let's do that quick.
Yeah.
Before Jimmy gives his review on the beer.
Season recap. We did a lot of scouting this year. We do every year, but this year we were pretty confident. I had that spot at Moton, so there's a new private spot we were hunting. Jimmy's farm, we had more deer than ever on that farm. Like he's been doing a ton of work, food plots, hinge cutting, putting pines for bedding. Like he's been doing it. It's 13
Okay.
acres, and he's
Yeah.
turning into something. So we got a bunch of deer that we put on a hit list this year out there. So I was really confident coming in. I ended up, the spot I picked on public wasn't really working out as good as I thought it would. Cameras were quiet, so I ended up just putting a climber on my back and trying to find a new spot on public. I bumped a couple deer, found a spot I liked, sat there a few times, saw a few doe, ran some cameras, caught a couple nice buck. I ended up shooting, I don't know, what do you say? I'm saying like 135.
So originally I thought it was a 10 point, at least 140 inch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice,
A nice public land buck for this section
But
of PA.
when you slow down the footage, I believe it's an 8-pointer.
Yeah, I think he's an
But
8 or a 9. Yeah,
And he's
Yeah.
I think he's close.
He
to
was
140.
nice. He was nice.
Yeah.
Real wide.
yeah, a real
That's why I
wide.
messaged you. I was like, where'd you get this at? Because I have a buck on camera
Yeah.
that looks
Yeah.
almost damn near
Yeah, I
identical
remember when
to
you
that.
messaged him that. So
Yeah.
this buck came in. It made a scrape behind me, exactly where I wanted him to make the scrape. And his head's up in a pine, and he's shaking the whole tree. Now he's like exactly behind me, so I'm like trying not to turn my whole body to stare at him. But I know he's making a scrape. I know it's a buck, and he finally pauses, and I see like the width on him, and I'm like, oh, here he comes. Like, he's gonna walk right past me. And he kind of took, there's two ways he could have went. One way would have brought him 5 yards under my stand. The other way he took that he ended up going, he ended up about 30 yards?
30-ish, yeah.
30-ish yards to the right of me. So I get situated. I got the camera on him, get all that situated, got the GoPro filming, the 4K handy cam on him. and I draw back, and he stopped.
Drawback Outdoors.
Drawback Outdoors. I draw back, and he stops. And, I mean, he's between these two. This opening had to be like 6 or 7 inches between these two trees. But it's
watching the footage, I couldn't believe.
Yeah, I can't. I was surprised, too, that I pulled the shot off. But it's perfect on his heart, like where this gap is. I'm holding it back, and I'm like, man, I think I can take the shot. And I'm like, well, if he starts moving here, I'm going to let him get a couple more steps, then I'm going to stop him. But he wasn't. I mean, he was looking around, and he wasn't moving, and it's getting hard to hold the bow back. So I let it go, and the shot felt perfect, and it laced right as a light of knock, went right between those two trees and smacked him. He goes running off behind me, circles back. I watch him. He stops for like a couple seconds at 80 yards, and then continues, and it's straight down a mountain, like through thick shit.
A lot of green briar.
Yeah, it's briars, it's thick. So he goes down the mountain, and the mountain's steep. And so he goes straight down the mountain, and I'm thinking, like, I couldn't, like, it all happened so fast. I'm like, this is the biggest buck I shot. Like, adrenaline going. So we go back to call Jimmy. We go back to the farm where we do all of our editing to the headquarters, and we watch the footage, and we can see it's high lung, but it's definitely lung. And the arrow was super pink when we saw it. There was a decent blood, not a ton of blood, but the arrow was like bright pink. So it's definitely lung. So we go back out there that night, and we track him like maybe 100 yards. And this is at the point, it's like every time you hear someone talk about it, it's like when in doubt, back out, right?
Right.
Like, that's the thing to do. So we thought about it, and Jimmy's like, I don't know, dude. I think we should keep pushing him. Like, this deer's dead.
So down that mountain, there's a pretty big body of water, right? Mm-hmm. And, when they're hit pretty good, they usually They run down.
Right.
They go to the water.
So I was like, we're on public that's highly pressured. I was like, I know it's, a fatal shot. I think we should keep going.
But it was so thick, and I'm like, if he had bedded down in here, I don't want to bump him because it's thick, and we're on public. Like, that deer's
Long
gone.
story short, we made the right decision backing out.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like, the ethical decision was to back out, so we backed out.
Yep.
We are friends with the lady who has a dog. Give a special shout-out to Captain and Vicky. So our friend Vicky has a dog that tracks, and he found a buck for me last year. Great dog. Vicky's a great lady. So I call her and say, what's your schedule tomorrow? Like, I think this deer's dead. It's down the bottom of the hill. It's super thick. We'd love for you to come out. She comes out. She brings the dog. It's the next day. You get out there like 8:30.
It's in the morning.
Yeah, and we're looking.
It's a Friday at this point.
It's Friday
Okay,
morning.
so we didn't think too many people would be
guys
out there
were
hunting.
Yeah, middle of the week,
Right.
that kind of thing.
So we're looking. The dog's on and off it, on the blood, off the blood. And then Jimmy calls me, my phone's ringing. I'm thinking he found the buck. So I see, like, he starts
because
calling.
they were going, like, the opposite way of, I just wanted to kind of, like, grid search. And I wanted to go to the water.
Yeah,
Right.
And we had the dog had just gotten back on blood and was circling back towards where he went. So he's calling me. I know he's already down there. So I'm like, yeah, that's where the blood's leading. Like, he found the buck. And I answer, he's like, I hope this isn't yours. What are you talking about? A gut pile. We get to a gut. So the dog finishes tracking right to the gut pile. We get to this gut pile. It was literally right on. There's bright eyes. You could see where this guy walks into his stand. It was right on this guy's path where the gut pile was. The deer died. It couldn't have worked out more perfectly for this guy. I think he was walking in
we
Friday
didn't even
morning.
find that right away. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I told you what I used to do for a living, so I started like looking, and I started walking back. I followed because I saw an actual blood trail after the gut pile, and I followed that right to the tree stand.
Right.
So what turns out, and shout out to the PA Game Commission. Like, these game wardens, sometimes I feel like they get a bad rap. I call them, report it. They comes out, does an investigation. It's like, yeah, like 100%. I do think that was your deer. The guy took it. Like,
they followed it back all the way to the parking lot where the guy parked.
They
The drag.
followed where the guy drug it out to the parking lot. He
God.
crossed a creek with it. They followed it all the way out. They set up a cell cam over the guy's tree stand. We found the guy's tree stand. Like, we followed the bright eyes to exactly where the guy was hunting.
Yeah, they did their job, man.
Yeah, they put a cell cam over it.
Damn.
I typed up a nice letter that was like, hey, my name's Ryan. I think you might have found my buck. Like, I'm not blaming you if you thought that no one was going to recover it. Here's my cell phone number. Here's my email. I'll pay for any processing you've done. If you've paid a taxidermist already, I'll give you whatever. You know what I mean? I'll compensate you for all that. I just want my deer back. Like, please reach out to me. Here's my cell phone. The guy took my note. Never a call. So like you would think even if that guy didn't take it, he would call and be like, hey man, I got
Yeah.
your note, but it wasn't me. So we're 90% sure it was that guy. The tree stand's gone. He never ended up getting
Oh, the tree
caught.
stand's gone now.
He took the tree stand out.
I think the game wardens.
Yeah, we don't know if,
Oh, you think- okay.
we were shed hunting down there and the tree stand's gone. So
Yeah.
because you
I
can't
think-
have tree stands up after
Right.
the season.
So I think
Even
the game,
climbers.
so the game commission might have taken it, the game warden there. But long story short, I mean, the buck's gone. Biggest deer I ever shot. We know he was dead. Like we filmed. That's the beauty of film too. Like we saw it. It's in the lungs. He's dead.
Yeah.
And that's one more just thing to think about. Like when you're hunting public land, it's like it sucks because we did everything right. Like we did the ethic. When in doubt, back out. Like
Yeah.
give the deer time to expire. Like. And realistically, it was in his lungs. That deer probably ran down the hill and died right there. He probably died on the run. We probably could. I should have listened to Jimmy. Probably should have kept going. But the right thing to do was just give it time. And it's public land, man.
It's
like
unfortunate.
the chances of that happening aren't great, but it happened.
Yep.
And so after that happened, it was a weird feeling. Like I'm
He was
still kind
depressed,
of
man.
I'm still
He was
kind of
depressed.
digesting this, but it was a
Absolutely.
weird feeling. Like I went back and I hunted that same spot because there's a few other deer on camera that I liked. But it was hard to sit. Like I'd get out there in the afternoon after work, and like I found myself like looking at my watch, thinking like, God, like just let the sun go down, let's go home.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to be out there, and none of the other deer I had on camera were as big as that deer, and just like it was a tarnished feeling. Like I'm like, why am I even out here? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it was tough. Seriously, it was like a mental wall of like I got to get over this, and I got to move past it. But it's so easy to say like just keep grinding,
Yep.
it'll all work out. But like you put so much time in, and I think this year my fiance got her first look at like how serious I take this, and like even her family, and like how much this shit means to me, that it's like, yeah, it was depressing. Like it's stupid, right? It's a deer, right? Get over it. But it's like, no, it's I put so much time. Jimmy and I together we scouted, had cameras. Like this is what we do, and to have that taken away by some guy, you know what I mean? It just was like the shittiest feeling.
Well, how
so
can you take that deer and put it on your wall knowing you didn't shoot it?
yeah,
you know?
it's
Yeah, I
a
mean, that's-
shitty thing. I mean, it's like you find a dead head, that's one thing. It's
Right.
hit by a car, that's one thing. But like, it's got an arrow hole. You know, what I mean, the deer had to still be warm. Like you know that deer was
absolutely.
just shot, so
You
it's
could-
like
when on the gut pile you could see in the lung.
I mean, he gutted the deer.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Right.
thing. If you
Yeah.
didn't gut the deer and
Yeah.
you just found a dead head,
Yeah.
like
Right.
the one beside you, Jimmy, and the one up on the swall right here, two up on the swall right here, like I didn't shoot those deer, so I'm not I'm not proud of
Right,
them. They're,
right,
they're
right.
cool to look
But
at.
they're I mean, I love finding deadheads.
Yeah.
Not that
But like for that
finding
guy, I
them's a
mean,
good
Yeah.
thing,
it was
but-
such.
Yeah.
It was like two things. It made me like realize like we got to be better as hunters. Like we got to help each other out more. We got to respect each other more. Like and later in the year, I had trail cam smashed during rifle season. Like someone smashed a cell cam. Like we got to be better than that. Like hunters sometimes get a bad rap. Like guys that are sitting in a tree stand drinking a beer with 30-06 in their hand. Like 99% of hunters aren't that. Like we got to be better. We got to respect each other and support each other. And so that was the first thing. And the second thing was like, man, it's gonna happen. Like I would have rather missed the buck and it ran out, and the next day I would have been like, all right, that was on me. Let's
and
get back
next year,
to
get
it.
another shot. At it.
But to have that taken by somebody, it was
Yeah.
the shittiest feeling. So I hunted hard the rest of the year. Didn't get many other opportunities. Passed the deer on a small 6-pointer on a farm we hunt, and then I kept going. It was to the point where we were mid-January and these deer are losing their antlers. I'm like, that's it. You know, we're running out of time. So I ended up killing. What was the deer I shot? 6 or 7?
6.
6 point. I ended up killing a 6 point on this private property we have permission to hunt, but that ended the year for me. And I did kill 2 doe as well. But like I said, that deer meant more to me than it's probably up there, like top 2, top 3 favorite deer. So that's how the season ended up. And you know, it's like it almost feels good like that closed that chapter.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I got that buck and like. The stolen buck, like the story of the stolen buck, put it behind us. Like
Yeah.
in 10 years, we'll be laughing because I'll be sitting here looking at 650-inch deer. I'm like, yeah, I remember I was so upset,
Yep.
but that's behind us, and it feels good to have ended that chapter and move into next year with, you know what I mean, like a fresh, clean slate.
Absolutely. I mean, that's messed up that it happened, but you know, things happen for a reason.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, you would have been happy with that buck. Like you guys put in a lot of work for that buck,
Yep.
both of you. Like it's not only your buck, but it's also Drawback Outdoors buck.
Right, and that's the thing
You know?
too. It's like what you were talking about, the pressure. Like it was on 4K camera, perfect daylight, perfect shot on the camera. It's tough to get a shot on camera like of the deer. Everything was in frame. Like,
was perfect,
damn, we
yeah.
could have made a movie. Like
But
we
the
could have
thing
made
is-
a freaking like Jimmy's editing. We could have made a freaking movie.
But the
with
thing
that.
is with that is like that's the stuff that isn't on YouTube.
Right.
Like that stuff stolen.
Yeah.
Like I would honestly, if I was you guys, like I would still put it out.
Yeah, that's
like
that's
I
actually
would
a great
still
point.
put it out.
Yeah.
Like because, I mean, that's everyone sees the glorified stuff.
Right.
You walk up on the elk, you walk up on the pronghorn, you walk up on the whitetail. Like you walk up on that stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, this is success.
Yep.
But you don't see the misses.
Yeah, that's
you don't
true.
see the.
It's like because you don't expect it to happen, and then when it does happen, it mentally is tough to get over. It does. Like I was surprised it really affected me for a while. I was like, man.
And I would talk about it, dude. Like right now, like you're talking about it right now, like do a YouTube video of it. Like put the video out there, and do a recap of that and how you actually felt, like your emotions. Like that's really good, sit man. Down and like and think about it, because I mean I missed that buck beside you. Like it's near where I shot a really big buck, and I missed it. I tracked it for 700 yards.
I was helping you that day.
And 2 days I went back in, and it was with a crossbow. It wasn't. I didn't have a compound yet, and I still think that's him, but I'm not 100% sure. But yet finding a buck dead, it's like.
Oh, you think that deadhead might have been the buck?
Yeah, I mean he's maybe 500 yards from where I was sitting.
That's wild.
In the pines.
And we tracked that thing. Oh, God.
The opposite way, and we lost blood.
It very well could be.
Yeah, so it's like, and the rut was going on. They were chasing doe, all that kind of stuff. Like he could have just been on adrenaline and just chasing a doe, and but that's something I think as hunters we need to hear. Like we hear all this great stuff, like the scouting, the trail cameras, it all came together, But we all need to realize that it's not always going to be perfect.
It comes down to like. We look back at like, whoa, the silver lining of the story is it was a wake-up call to me of it isn't always about the antlers, right? It's not about the size of the deer. Like, I shot that 6-point buck this year, and I was shaking like a leaf. Like, I got that buck, and driving home with that buck in the back of my truck was one of the happiest I've been as an archery hunter.
Yeah.
And it's a deer under 100 inches. You know what I mean? So it's like, it really isn't all about the antlers. Like that's one thing I learned. Like it's not, if that buck makes you happy, then you take that buck. So I mean, silver linings in the story. We learned a lot. Hey, hunting public land's different. You gotta go. There's a different rule book there, like of how you track deer, when you get on them. Like we're learning those hard lessons. But tell your story. Jimmy's
I mean, you had a really good one too.
Jimmy had an awesome year.
Yeah, this year was pretty good for me.
Start with Grandpa.
Yeah, so both my grandparents passed this year.
I'm sorry to hear
Grandma
that.
passed in April, and then 4 months later, Grandpa passed. So
and that's the farm we're hunting, that 13-acre farm.
Okay.
That was his grandparents.
That farm's been in my family for 200 years.
Wow.
And like Ryan said earlier, it's 13 acres with like really 8 huntable acres. And as he said, I've been doing a crap load of work. Like I planted corn this year, switchgrass, clover, like just the whole 9 yards. Well, I saw this doe on my trail camera. And next thing you know, he comes walking by, and I was like, holy! I mean, it was October. It was late October. I'm like, holy crap, she's hot.
So, he sees the doe on the trail camera as he's sitting on his couch eating Burger King. They put that.
Hey, you can't kill him from the couch.
But he basically did.
So it was like the easiest season ever for me.
Yeah.
And so I actually threw on my pants. Didn't even put I think I was wearing this sweatshirt, and.
I think you were, because I watched the video.
Yeah, I climb into this
the corner stand that
stand. It's awful.
We debated taking it down for a while too, because
we got it free from somebody.
Yeah, someone gave it to us.
It's like 12 feet off the air. It's no cover on it.
It's shitty. Yeah,
but I knew the way that she was walking down, that they were probably most likely going down to one of the cornfields, and that they would probably eventually work back up. Well, I thought I saw his rack down towards the cornfield up down the hill, and next thing you know, the doe pops out, and she's like 2 yards under me, and I couldn't get, because I was so low to the ground with no cover, I positioned my camera, and he came up faster than I thought, and he's standing like 10 yards from me at this point, and I couldn't get my camera on him.
Yeah.
But I had so many emotions going through me because, like I said, my grandpa just passed, and I just knew he sent that buck to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hard shot him at 10 yards. He ran. All my bucks recently have gone like 15 yards and passed. So he literally.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Ryan, if only.
Yeah,
right.
I'm thinking about
my last 3 deer I hard shotted, but he ran up the one trail that we have, did like a little loop around, and I watched him fall like 15 yards from me.
I was at a Hershey Bears game.
Yeah.
Paige and I were at a Hershey Bears game, and he's FaceTiming
no way.
I'm
No.
like, no way, dude. You were just on the couch eating Burger King. You piece of shit. Like, how does that work out? Like, what the hell?
I've never had a season go
He
this
called me.
easily.
It's like, I just got a picture of a doe. Like, I think I'm going to go run out. I'm like, yeah. Go get in the stand. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, he's FaceTiming me. Here's the buck.
Yeah.
I'm like, walking in to go see the Bears. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell? Like, it was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like,
It just all worked out perfect.
Yeah.
it was
And
cool
like
because
I said,
that's the end of the story. Like, Grandpa passed away this year, and it was just we called that buck the Grandpa buck. But it was cool. Like, all the work he's done on that property. I mean,
and the thing is, we had about three shooters on the farm all summer,
Yeah.
and
a couple
I never
nice bucks.
seen this guy. Like,
Okay.
I never seen him, or did I have one trail cam?
I don't
picture?
think so. I think he was new. We had.
Anyways,
Uncle
I
Sam
saw him and I
Nubs.
was like, holy shit.
He's a nice buck.
Yeah,
huh?
he's,
Yeah.
And on
Pictures
13
don't do him justice, I feel. Like,
Yeah.
you look at pictures of the buck and it's like, but then you look at the trail cam picture, like the live
Yeah.
picture you posted, like
Right.
that was like, okay, yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely.
No, he's. I mean,
Well, we do our own Euro mounts, so we'll bury the skull, and
Mm-hmm.
then through the winter, and then in the spring we'll dig up the skulls, and then
that's what I did for those.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So then I'll boil and bleach them, and we'll do them all at the same time. So our buddy got a buck, I got a buck, Jimmy's got a buck. Jimmy
Yeah.
got 2 bucks,
But-
one in Maryland, one here. But
yeah, I got.
when you see his buck, that Grandpa buck, next to the other buck we killed, you're like, whoa, it's a pretty nice buck.
Yes.
Like, you see him, and you're like, I mean,
know, I go
mine
back to-
fits well within the frame of his. Like, it's
I
a
go
nice
back
buck.
and look at that picture and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't do it
No.
justice. But
It was a special deer. So
I shot 100. I think it's like in the 147 area.
Okay.
I actually shot that. So I call him the big farmer. He's the farmer behind me, and they were late on crops that year. And he
Right.
was like, "Yeah, you can hunt my property," and there was still standing corn.
Okay.
And it was rifle season. I shot that buck with a rifle, and he's my biggest deer. But that buck I shot this year means more to me than any of them, just because of all the
Yep.
circumstances and everything that happened.
I'm right there with you because, like, when my grandfather passed away, I got his rifle.
Yeah.
And I was like,
cool.
I think I got a buck down that year. I think it was that 8-point. Yeah, I think it was the 8-point, the archery 8-point in the middle right there.
Yeah.
And then,
okay. Nice
like,
buck.
he passed away, and then, like, I got his rifle, and then I went out for, like, the last day of rifle, and a doe just came out. And I was like, what?
Oh,
It's meant to be.
Yeah, it's
like,
a
right now, like,
science. Yep.
and that means more to me than anything on the
Yeah.
wall right here.
Yep.
Like, any
That's
buck you
that's
get.
the crazy part about it. It's like once you start realizing that, I think you're just like more fulfilled as a hunter. Like,
Yeah.
who cares about how many likes it gets on Instagram or who comments it or who cares? Like,
Yep.
it's what's special to you. It's a doe,
100%.
right?
And
Like,
that's the thing. Like I shake, but I don't get like crazy like shakes when I shoot a buck. This one, man, I was all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I was saying on camera, to be honest. Like I was that worked up. So yeah,
But I was like that with my doe.
Yeah.
This year I shot my doe and I was walking back. It's not a far drag back to the cabin more because I shot it on a property just a little further back, and I'm looking. I was like, I hope someone else is here and help me drag this back. And look down, my dad's truck's there, so I knew he was back, and I was like, I got one.
Yeah,
man,
right.
I've never seen that man get up off the porch so quick, throw his boots on. He goes,
Also,
where is
what
it?
was he doing on the porch? He was hunting on the porch. He had his
He
rifle
was,
beside him.
he was hunting on the porch. He went back because I think it was. Well, it was raining. It was raining, and
Downpour.
my dad's like, "Yeah, I'm not going out. This is stupid." And he saw like a bunch of other hunters walking through. He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to go back to the cabin." And he came back, and I'm glad he did because I was like, "I got one. It's sitting right up here." I said, "I got a doe." That man, 65 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen him move so fast just
that's
to get
a
up the
special
hill.
thing, man. Like that
Yeah.
that bond and like we talk about Jimmy and I talk about it all the time. When I killed my first doe on that property, we it wasn't a far drag, but man, that was like
Yeah, it was good.
I was emotional.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It was like you put so much time and work into it, and
That's how it was. Sorry, go ahead.
no.
That's how it was for my Maryland buck I shot this year. It was downpouring.
Oh yeah, you were hunting. It was
I literally had a trash
Pouring.
bag over my camera. And
right. Like
I was
hunting
just-
and weather changes when you have $4,000 camera
Yep.
sitting up there in the stand. When you're like, oh, maybe I don't hunt in the rain today.
Yeah.
You know, like he was like, I'm going, but he drove all the way down to Maryland, so he was like, I'm hunting.
You got to,
They
yeah.
figured it
that
out.
I
part.
just remember I'm sitting there like hating my life. Like I was soaked
To the bone.
And like actually that morning I saw a massive 8-pointer. I just climbed up the stand and I didn't even have my camera set up yet, so I filmed it with my phone. But he was at like 60 yards, and I'm very comfortable taking that shot.
Yeah.
But I just needed him to take one more step into this clearing,
It's always that one step.
and he wouldn't. and he kind of something spooked him, and he ran off and stopped, and that's when I started filming him. But it was my last day in Maryland, and he's a nice 6-pointer. He's tall, but he came in. I was like, last day, this guy's getting it, and he also died in 10 yards.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I mean, we shoot a lot. Like we shoot our bow like. We do like 100. We'll go out to 120 yards just to practice and have fun shooting balloons. Like we shoot single pins so we can dial it up to whatever. We shoot a lot of bow, so we're confident.
I expect you guys out at the farm this year shooting.
Hey,
with us.
That's a formal
We'll be out.
invitation. There's 2 formal invitations. You guys are going to be shooting bow with us, and we need to get you guys into some waterfowl next year.
Yeah, I'm down.
That's
I'm
going to
down.
open up your wallet because I'm telling you right now.
No, you don't have to.
No, yeah, I already opened up mine. No, it's the blinds, the decoys. You're gonna one on your shotgun, like it comes like because you're sitting over like 5 dozen, 6 dozen, 7 dozen plastic geese. Well, then you start looking at like they're $220 for 6. Like, oh. So there's like $4,000. So now, you know what I mean? Like start running the numbers. Like now we hunt with a bunch of guys. So it's everybody puts their stuff together, but we're getting our own spread. Our blind right now, it'll be tight, but 4 guys will fit. So we want you 2 out there and we'll do some waterfowl because once you get some birds circling around you, like if you've never waterfowl hunted, you're like, it's just, I'm a deer hunter.
Yeah.
But man, when you're sitting there shooting the shit, cooking eggs on
God,
a
yeah.
little,
Did you see
Eggs and
that
bacon.
post
Eggs
that I
and
did?
bacon.
eggs and
Yeah.
bacon on a little propane heater, just in your blind shooting the shit, and then here comes a flock, and they circle you. You can hear the wings of them, and they're making their noise. I mean, it's like your adrenaline.
Make the noise quick.
Jimmy's the caller. He's good at it.
That's pretty good.
We go to the outdoor show this year, and there's a funny story. We go to the outdoor show, and there's this guy, shout out Grit Pack Calls. We go there, we're thinking like we need real goose calls, like good goose calls. And so we're going
he
through.
has one from like the 70s.
Yeah, I got a shitty one that I bought. So we're going to buy nice ones. So we're circling through, and everyone's in their stands, like calling, trying to. So you're like looking around, like we're not like serious waterfowl hunters yet. So we're like, they all sound good. Like this guy, Grit Pack Calls. He's like, we're telling him, like, yeah, like we're just getting into it. Like we're finally getting really serious about it. We got our own spread, our own blind. He's like, oh, well, this one's super easy to call. Like blows on it, sounds good to us. He's like, well, if you guys buy them, like I'll give you a quick lesson. And now you're going to think it's like day 2 of the outdoor show, and there's thousands of people in this hall. And so we're like, yeah, okay, we'll take them, like $140 or whatever they are. They got them discounted. He hands us these calls, and now he wants us to blow on them. He's going to give us a lesson, right? But there's thousands of people walking around, and they're all waterfowl guys. Like, they're serious.
They're just like watching.
Here's Jimmy and I, man, like blowing on this thing, and we sound like dying geese. Like, it's the worst. I'm like, so embarrassed. You didn't even want to blow yours that much.
I was like, nah.
No, keep going. You're getting there. I'm like, no, I could see like guys looking like, what the hell? It was pretty sobering moment. I'm like, okay, thanks. Just put it in the bag. We're good. But Jimmy, he within like 3 days, man, he's crushing it. Do you guys do turkey hunting at all?
I do a little bit, but I usually end up like chasing after turkey that's running away. Yeah.
Jimmy's he's real. I went out one time for turkey last year. Had fun doing it. I think it's more that when you get one, you're going to be addicted to it. So
but speaking of how we were talking about how lucky he is,
yeah.
We go out on public land, and I mean, it was 20 minutes. We walked into the woods.
Oh yeah,
and I
year.
sent something out, and here comes this gobbler.
Yeah,
and he's like 75 yards from us. We didn't get it done, but we almost.
We got real close.
That was his first time out.
That was my first and only time. So we're going out this year. Jimmy scouts turkeys all year. He got some really good footage of a big one out there the other day. But
we're gonna get him a turkey this year.
Yeah, I think once I get a turkey, I'll be addicted. Because it's like,
guaranteed.
What do we do right now, right? Like they're shed hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But what else? You know what I mean? Like that's
shed hunting. Like I really I'd say I'm going out shed hunting, but really I end up scouting.
Yeah,
and
you're walking
posted
around
something
scouting.
about that the other day.
Yeah.
Like, do you shed hunt more or do you scout more?
Yeah, because
Scouting.
you can't do both.
Right.
And it's tough in our area of Pennsylvania to find sheds. Like this isn't Iowa where you're walking along a cornfield. Like, oh, here's 16 sheds. You know, what I mean? It doesn't work like that. I spent a lot of time walking. And Jimmy spends even more walking these woods. We do not find that many. Like it's way harder. So it is a good time to scout. But other than that, like, what are you doing right now?
Real quick, I love how people post pictures of sheds, like them riding up to it or something like that.
And the camera's
like,
behind it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we know you moved that shed.
Yeah, right.
Into a perfect spot.
Well, and it's like the road shed. Yeah.
He did. You know.
It's like the road sheds too. It's like Jimmy gets so mad. There's a girl on TikTok or something, but she was like posting these like
single mom.
Sheds.
Come on,
Single mom.
Never gonna live this down.
But she's posting like these massive sheds and
from
the road. You know what I mean? Like she's just driving around and
massive
looks
sheds,
down there.
huh?
Yeah, sheds. Yeah. It's like, he's liking, commenting,
subscribe.
Nice sheds.
Do you have a kid?
Let's talk about Drawback Outdoors because
Yeah,
I feel like we didn't talk about that at all unless we just like quickly put it in there. So how did Drawback Outdoors started, and where can they follow you at? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we have an Instagram, Drawback, and 2_ outdoors.
I didn't even know. It was
No.
Doing the 2
Okay.
underscores, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that have Drawback Outdoors, they're just spelled differently.
Right.
But we're the real one.
Yeah.
So.
OGs.
But we have YouTube. That's also just Drawback 2_ outdoors. But yeah, we started in June of 2021.
Okay.
And it was kind of just, we love hunting and you know how big this industry's getting, and we were like, let's just make a YouTube. And told Ryan about it. And
yeah, the thought was like, if we can't, like, wherever it goes, but like we'll always have those memories, right? So we're talking about like filming our own hunts, and it's like, if you film your own hunt and you post it on YouTube and it gets 55 views, you still have that hunt on video.
Like you can show your kid that 20
right.
years
Like
from now.
sit around at a campfire and telling stories about shooting bucks is awesome. But let's go in the cabin and I'll show you. You know what I mean? I'll show you the shot and I'll show you the whole video.
Also, I want to put this out there. Think about this. You have 55 viewers, all right, on one video. If 55 viewers walk through that door right now, you'd be like, holy fuck. 55 people came to watch this.
Right.
Like,
And now like our last video is over 1,000 views. And like now, so to grow, like where you start from zero and like the YouTube space is like, it's a domino effect, right? So you have 1 subscriber, then you have 10 subscribers. Now when you post a video, those 10 subscribers are watching it. Now it gets a little boost in the algorithm. Now more people see it. So then your next 10's easier, and then your next 20's easier, and it gets easier and easier and easier.
Yeah.
So we're at the point now where we're at 2.2 thousand subscribers, and it's getting easier. And like we're learning too. Our footage is getting better. You're learning, that didn't work out so well. Our lapel mics, we need mics on us because the audio is not great when you turn your head and stuff like that. But when you think about like wherever this goes with us, it goes. We do hoodies, we do apparel.
It was kind of just like, get my 2 friends, and like we were talking about earlier, the camaraderie aspect, like, let's just do this. Let's have fun, and where it goes, it's whatever.
And this year has been a huge year. Like it's catching fire. Now it's like to the point, like like with your quote up there, like you grind and grind and grind and grind, and it's like growing slowly. But then you network right, and you meet the right people, and then that switch goes. And now it's like, we used to sit there, we'd post a video, and we'd get like 3 subscribers, and we'd be like, oh, we got 2 subscribers. Calling each other, like, ask my fiance. She's like, you're always on the phone with me. Yeah, because we just got 3 subscribers. We're calling them. You know what I mean? Did you see we got 30 likes? You know what I mean? And now it's to the point where it's like, we've got, 1,000 subscribers in the last month. And it's like, now all of a sudden it starts making, it's like, what's silly? We used to celebrate over 3, but now it's like, now we're at 2,000. We were talking about like, what do we celebrate next? Like, we used to celebrate every 10. Then it was every 50. Now it's like, do we celebrate every 3,000, 5,000? Like, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And it's fun. It's like James, it's what we love to do. So it's not like we're working. You know what I mean? It's like the content portion of it's a lot. Like Jimmy does a lot of editing. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page too, Drawback Outdoors. Instagram. He posts on TikTok, YouTube. Like, that's a lot to be.
Don't even, Cody.
You should,
He's over there
should go follow Jim. What's your TikTok, Jimmy?
Nah.
Yeah, he's quite.
I'm not saying anything.
He's quite the TikTok boy. But it's like
Heard shirtless.
well,
No, shirts on and all of them.
there's some thirsty posts on there. All right, if you need you can get a glass of water because he's there's some
Get your
thirsty
popcorn
posts.
ready.
But it is a ton of work, and you put in like we ordered like 50 or 60 hoodies, and we've sold like this is a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. We've sold like 40, 45 of them, and it's crazy because we're sitting there looking like he'll get the shipping label and he'll come in, we'll pack it up. They're going to Arizona, Montana, wherever. They're going across the country, and that's pretty cool. It's like there's somebody in Arizona wearing a Drawback Outdoors hoodie right now. You know what I mean? And taking a picture of it and tagging us on Instagram. It's like it's pretty cool to get that growth, and so we finally hit that. I think this upcoming year is going to be, we're doing waterfowl now. We do fishing videos. We're just always, anything outdoors. It's not
also
just
cool
whitetail.
for the networking aspect. Like, look, it got us to meet you guys.
Yeah, right.
And now we got 2 new friends that we can shoot bow with, and possibly do some hunts later. Like, who knows?
Absolutely.
It's just
We'll go out to Montana and shoot an elk together or something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
dude,
There you go.
And then
we
we'll-
shoot fucking elk
How about
together.
you guys? When did you guys start?
2019 is when
Wow.
we started.
2019.
2019 in a garage on a computer or on a cell phone.
Yep.
And then we slowly, we got, like how you guys got excited about 3. We got
Yeah.
excited because we had 20 listeners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like 20 listens on
And
the podcast.
it's like, man, 20 people.
Yeah,
You know
I was
what
like,
that's
Then
what
we
we
had
thought
a-
too.
We had
Wanna
100.
listen?
We're like, oh my god, we had 100 views.
20 people
Get
want to
the
listen to
beers
us
out.
talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because like again, you see like on YouTube, some of these guys are getting like 30,000 views and 40,000 views. Like you're just getting started, right? You're in
Yep.
the infancy stages. Like some of these guys we were comparing ourselves personally to have been
Yep.
doing this for 8 years.
You can't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We're
Yep,
a year and a
you
half,
can't.
2 years into this. It's like just be happy with what you got
Yep.
and be happy with your growth, and you're gonna get there. Like you keep putting out episodes, you're gonna keep growing. And then,
Amen.
like I said, in a couple of years we'll be sitting here. You guys will have 1 million listeners, and you know what I mean?
I'll
We'll talk about
be
the same
able to quit
shit.
my job.
Yeah, you'll be able to quit your job.
My
and
wife
be a
said the other day,
full-time
she's
hunter.
like, "Can you like just make the podcast like make money so like we can like you don't have to work?"
yes, babe.
Yeah, I'll get right on
I'm
that.
That's the
working on
plan.
I'm working on it.
I'll get right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, so you guys are doing partnerships, like you're working with a stand company. Any other partnerships you guys do?
We have Our Grounds Coffee Company. We have Forget Genetics, which is a local company here, which is like minerals, all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
We have We have Habit, obviously,
Habit,
wearing
yeah.
camo.
Oh, yes.
There's more stuff in the works with them, which I'm really excited about. Which will be
Right.
you guys will know about it, but yeah. And then there's
Deer
Deer
Age.
Age, but we might be getting out of that because we haven't been making money off it. And
Still waiting on my dough. April 2nd. I'm
Yeah,
waiting. I'm
exactly.
getting. I sent my 2 T. I had my doe this year, and I was like, she was a big doe,
Yep.
and I was like, she's got to be, not old, but she's older.
Yeah.
I'm curious, so I sent in the 2 teeth, the 2 front,
Oh, so you
bottom
send
teeth.
the
You
teeth
send the
in
teeth
and
in, and they
no
do.
way.
Yeah.
And then they
That's
give you an
cool.
age.
Yeah.
How old? So
No
April
shit.
2nd, I'll get
Yep.
that.
So
Yeah.
you just package them up and send them into
Yep.
you, and then you pay a fee, and they're going to send back a report
Yep.
of how old that. Wow,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty cool. But
that's
yeah,
cool. I didn't
it's
know about that.
we've really I've kind of taken it by horn and like just kept rolling with it. I was
Yeah.
like, how many partners can we get? Because like the thing is, like everyone's like, oh, well, you take free shit. I'm like, well, yeah, hunting's expensive. Like, why would I not take free
We're
shit?
just talking
Yeah,
about
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what would be your guys' tip to new hunters getting into hunting? Like, what would be your biggest tip to them?
Do you want me to start that?
Go ahead, man. You're the talker.
Man, to a new hunter, and like this was just me not that long ago, like
Right.
7,
8
years
ago.
ago.
What would you
I was
tell
the new
yourself?
hunter. Be persistent. Honestly, be persistent. Be confident with the gear. So if you're a rifle hunter, shoot that rifle. If you're a bow hunter, shoot that bow as much as you can. You owe it to the animal,
Yeah.
right? Like I've made bad shots on deer. Everybody has, and it's the worst feeling ever. So be confident in your gear. If you're shoot your bow, shoot your rifle, and be persistent. You put the time in, and I promise you, it's going to pay off. And look, you don't need 200 acres of private land in Potter County. It's great, and it makes life a little easier.
Shitting
really
on
threw
me.
me out there,
Threw me
didn't
on the bus. You
but you don't need it. Like
You know what? Get out of the studio now.
hunting is it's expensive. It can
What a
be really
guy.
expensive, but you can get it done in Walmart camo and a cheap bow. And if you're persistent and you just keep grinding, you will be successful. So learn as much as you can. Listen to podcasts like this. Watch YouTube videos. Be a sponge. Get a mentor if you know somebody that's hunting, and just take in everything you can. And if you're persistent, you're going to get deer.
I feel like that was definitely a shot at you, man.
As soon as you said private land,
206
Potter County, I was
acres in
like,
Potter County.
If he had 206 acres, I'd be hunting there all the time.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We'd all be hunting.
I'd be happy
This
as
public
shit.
land warrior thing we're going with, we're only public land warriors because we don't have private land. If we had private land, we would not be public land warriors anymore.
Absolutely.
No way.
As cliche as
What
it
about you?
sounds, as cliche as it sounds, I mean, just like sitting here with you guys talking, like this is awesome. So just like have fun with it, you know.
Yeah.
Like Ryan said, learn as much as you can. You're always going to be learning.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah,
a new
still to
hunter,
this day.
just go out there and learn and have fun.
Yeah, I agree. One more time, where can they follow you at? All that kind of stuff.
Instagram, Drawback Outdoors, YouTube, and we just created a new Facebook.
All that's at Drawback Outdoors.
Drawback Outdoors. Both
Okay.
2 underscores.
We got a
before.
website that's linked on that Instagram. Go check out apparel there. I don't
Yes,
know.
that's
pretty
Drawback
much,
Outdoors
yeah,
apparel.
it's almost sold out, but we'll be doing new drops. So
Okay.
check us out.
Cool. Well, it's been awesome talking to you guys in studio.
Absolute
Yeah,
pleasure.
thanks
Love
for
to have you
having
guys
us.
in. Yeah,
We'll
it was
be
nice
back.
drinking
We'll
beers.
be back next year.
Yep.
We'll all be sitting here with a couple of 170-inch
Yeah.
deer shooting the shit.
Yeah, or
Betcha.
60-inch
Or
deer,
yeah,
whatever.
you know what I mean.
Whatever.
But we'll have deer.
Yeah, we'll have deer.
All right, thanks guys.
Yeah, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
I gotta piss again.
Again.
Yep.